isn't my world. Disappointed. Very disappointed. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. This isn't my world. Disappointed. Very disappointed. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. This isn't my world. Disappointed. Very disappointed. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. This isn't my world. Disappointed. Very disappointed.
And we are
Wait a minute.
live. Welcome.
Everyone's upset tonight about Dr. Disrespect and President Donald Trump being banned from Twitch within 48 hours of each other. And that is within 72 hours of Twitch instituting a zero tolerance policy. So if that doesn't show you that social media needs to change, I don't know what will. And luckily tonight, we have Dominic from Note Blockchain here to talk about how Note's different from what's already out there.
So, what's different? We're censorship.
Yeah, Dominic,
Go ahead.
welcome.
Sorry.
Welcome to the show. We're just giving you the intro, buddy. Welcome to the show.
Oh, sorry, like, my first time, guys. Give me a break.
No worries. Hey,
You're great. You're
promise-
awesome. Nope, that was
Yeah,
just
we're-
kind of.
yeah, we're gonna be gentle with
Yeah.
you. We can't say as much about the live audience. Just don't read the comments.
I'm not going to pay attention.
So let's start kind of with that news. And Seth, that's something that you really wanted to discuss tonight.
I absolutely did. Thank you so much for bringing that up. Dr. Disrespect, for anybody that doesn't know or doesn't follow esports, Frankly, cat's out of the bag. I don't follow esports either, but it made such a splash on crypto Twitter, kind of spilled over into crypto Twitter because trending hashtags are trending hashtags. And Twitter really is kind of the world's newspaper these days. It is the world's news delivered at way faster speed than any other publishing method. And so I saw that news drop and I thought, okay, well, Dr. Disrespect, I've heard the name. I've seen some of the branding. The guy does a phenomenal job of branding his media. Really funny look, really funny content. And I thought it was harmless, personally, from everything that I'd seen. I thought, okay, this mostly just like family friendly, practically. I would be okay with any of my like teenagers watching his stuff, but all of a sudden Twitch says he's canceled. And then less than 24 hours later, less than 48 hours later, POTUS 45, Donald Trump, President Trump, he's canceled too from Twitch. Like, Twitter had already been kind of griefing the president of the United States, right? Censoring some tweets and such. But here's Twitch completely deplatforming the president of the United States of America. Really? Like, what universe do we live in that there's a media platform that thinks it's not their job to just let people who are in the public eye talk? That was crazy to me. Yeah, I had to bring it up. I know that's not the core point of the show. We're going to talk a little about alternative publishing with Dominic tonight. So this is so great that you're with us. But as far as that being like setting the stage for tonight's conversation, I thought, okay, we've hit peak clown world, right? We've hit peak ludicrousness for publishing. Like, don't ask, can it get any worse? Because obviously it always can, right? Like, this is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I think, there's a lot of people who have celebrated things like Trump being censored or shadow banned on Twitter. But regardless of how you feel about, the US president and his opinions, the importance of what's going on, related to it can't really be understated, right? I mean, like, we're talking about somebody who has significant power, the most power of anybody known in the US, right?
Well, let's draw that out by extrapolation, by extension, the known universe, Nicole. He has the most power in the known universe.
Okay, the most power in the known universe, and yet there's a social media platform that can censor what he says or even his ability to use the platform at all. Now, regardless of how you feel about what he says, you have to realize if they can censor him, they can censor you.
Yeah. This is the problem with policies, with bad policies, right? They should affect everyone equally. They don't seem to at first. We'll see how this all shapes up in the long run. But in the meantime, like you're saying, Nicole, if we don't like the trend, we need to look for alternatives. First off, before anyone asks in the comment section, this is me drinking red pill flavored Kool-Aid, apropos of our tweets for today. It's, it's how we do. It's how we do on the Monday show.
Okay, is it red pill flavored Kool-Aid or is it just red Kool-Aid?
It's red pill flavored Kool-Aid. And we brought we brought enough for everybody. Okay. Hope you guys came thirsty. Let me show what we have on the screen tonight is whattomine.com. I wanted to briefly mention something that you and I talked about a little bit off screen before, Nicole, and that is proof of work mining. That's what this channel that we're currently broadcasting to on YouTube was built on. Obviously, we're very much about growing the Mineyour.biz content publishing hub and having more of our media live there, as well as library.tv and BitTube, as well as other alternatives. We're exploring every alternative we can. Right now on YouTube, we built that channel on proof of work mining, specifically GPU mining, so that small to mid-scale operators, people that have just maybe a gaming rig that isn't doing much, or maybe have a few GPUs, or maybe have a few computers that are mining cryptocurrencies, they can contribute meaningfully and they can earn some coins, maybe make it something that's more than just a hobby. That's how we built this channel. And you asked me over the weekend, you said, Nicole, you said, Seth, are you mining, are you benchmarking Beam Hash 3?
I did.
She threw this little micro dagger at my heart, like, hey, you. Hey, mister, I built my channel on proof of work mining. Are you benchmarking this new algo? And I was like, just dodge that one. So I wanted to bring that up.
You didn't answer me. You just didn't answer me.
No, I did not. And I'd love to say that it was because of the family time. I was spending time with the family, but realistically, you saw the red receipt. You knew that I saw it. And
I was like, he's got something to say here.
so for the purpose of fulfilling that obligation to our audience, because they expect the best, right? They expect the very best answer that we can give with regards to that question. I've got whattomine.com opened up. And guys, I've got Team Green. Let me give you guys this little gold nugget. I've got Team Green, and I'll just tell you right now, these are the relevant cards. If you're buying today, again, this is not, flash the disclaimer, this is not legal, financial, or business advice. But if I were buying GPUs today from NVIDIA, I would only be looking at the XX60 cards. So 1060s, 1660s, and 2060s. They've historically been the most power efficient. They are currently the most power efficient. They're likely to remain the most power efficient in the future. That is a design choice that NVIDIA has made for so many years running, and it's just played out generation after generation in proof of work mining. If you question this, you're not paying attention to the numbers. So I've got those highlighted right here, and I've just got beam hash. We're going to calculate that really fast using whattomine.com. Profitability is set for 7-day average. Difficulty for revenue is set for 7-day average, because while you'll hear some people say that you can buy the dip, some people say you can mine the dip, you're going to hear me say you should play the averages. That's what I would do, not advice. That's just what I would do. If you can DCA, you can also mine averages, right? So DCA with that mentality as well when mining, unless, because most things, if they're worth mining, they're worth holding. So there's beam hash right there, apparently negative values at 10-cent power across that generation of card. Let's go ahead and check out Team Red. And again, the most relevant cards for Team Red would be your 480s and your 580s. I know. Hey, Vega crowd, go ahead and take a seat for just a second. I know. You want to say something? Don't. Shh. Don't speak.
We're going to silence you like we're on Twitch.
Right? Yeah, you guys are deplatformed. This is one-way communication anyway. But Team Red, I'm looking at 480s, 580s. Why? Because to date, they have offered the highest ROI of anything that AMD has created. Yep, I'm even talking to you guys, Vega owners and Radeon 7 aficionados. So Beam, and go and calculate that with the same parameters. I'm also looking at volume of over half a Bitcoin per day, but we know that Beam fits that category, fits that description. And what's this? You're even farther in the hole with the current Beam hash 3. Yes, they have refactored their Beam calculator right here to now adjust to Beam hash 3. If you guys aren't aware, this is going to be the last that I talk a little bit nerdy about proof of work mining. But guys, these are just adjusted value. Oh, Nerd Girl, thank you for being the truth seeker on this show. She's right. It's a bald-faced lie. Equihash, they've adjusted the N and K values. They've also adjusted one or two other parameters for Beam Hash version 3. But realistically, guys, this is a variant of Equihash. Beam knows this. They've published it. There's a white paper on it. It's really in depth. Not going to go over it here. But the most salient change has just been to the Equihash algorithm. It's really Equihash tweaked with the N and K parameters adjusted. And this has been, we've seen this repeated over and over again, haven't we, over the years, guys? First with Bitcoin Gold and with Zell and with others. The Byzantine, oh my gosh. There is I'm sorry, it's a private group, but it's a private group of coin players. They started working on solving this problem of Equihash being ASIC mineable a couple of years ago. Hasn't changed that much, not that much. So Beam is still playing the cat and mouse game right now. I don't know how much longer they want to keep it up, right? Monero is going to play the cat and mouse game in perpetuity, they say, just forever. Beam, we can't expect them to do that, guys. So you're not seeing high profit right now, but if Beam is worth mining, probably worth buying for the long haul. Just that's how I'm viewing it from my own personal mining efforts and thoughts.
Well, so Seth, why were you not benchmarking the new Beam algo?
So the reason I'm not benchmarking the new Beam algo, and I'm glad you asked. Hey, we got Yankee in the chat section. Just wanted to say hello. Oldie but a goodie. Yankee, we loves your face. Thanks for showing up. So wherever you are, Yankee, take a swill and shoot whatever firearm you have close to you straight in the air. So I'm going to select a couple of other algorithms here. You're going to see Ethash and on Team Red. CN GPU, CN heavy, CN fast. I'm going to make some adjustments here because these are more realistic. I'll do this live, guys. This is not me giving away alpha or giving advice. This is just me making what to mine a little more realistic in my mind. So adjusting some values right there. And this is, I'm shooting from the hip here, guys. But I'm going to adjust and show ETH hash and a couple of CryptoNight algorithms there. And for the exact same hash per dollar per watt, top of the stack is Haven Protocol today for Team Red.
Nice. I love that.
Why would I touch Beam when Haven Protocol is going to give me $2.30 with the same equipment, $2.35 per day more profit, right? I've got that alpha, I've got that edge, I've still got privacy. Haven Protocol as a privacy-oriented project, and I've got the asset pegging, right? So to precious metals and then different fiat currencies. They've got a very different scope, right, of what they want to achieve with Haven Protocol. And I don't want to say anything negative about Beam. They're a phenomenal team. They're doing phenomenal work and research. But for mining, you know, I'm looking at it dispassionately. I have to factor this in. You know, running it like a business, I've got to take a look very seriously at what is giving me profit. Further down the list, I mean, guys, even bottom of the stack here, I'm even doing better on EtherGem and negative values per day, but I'm even doing better on EtherGem, a project that we haven't talked about in a while, than I am on Beam for Team Red. So, you know, maybe you can benchmark and get better numbers than I'm giving here. I haven't even optimized the ETH hash numbers there, but unless you've got like some really great overclocking and undervolting profiles for mining Beam, I think you're going to struggle to make that choice the same way that I would. I'm looking at crypto notes for Team Red, and on Team Green, let me uncheck a couple other algos as well. But specifically, I'm going to look at a few. Oh, I'm seeing painful stuff down in the comment section. Some of our stalwarts have shut down their mining farms, and we're not talking 2 or 3 rigs. That's rough. Yeah, some areas of the country it's hard to justify the cost of power when the utility is talking about shutting you down after the economy reopens.
Right.
So, sorry guys, yes, there's pain everywhere. But with
actually, that tested something else that I saw today about celebrities complaining about the cost of electricity being like 3 times higher than normal. And if that has something to do, I mean, it seems like that would be very significant to miners who pay for the.
Absolutely. Yeah. If there's been a spike in the actual price of power per kilowatt hour, then you should feel it. But with the celebrities, really? What?
So, yeah, I really because I don't really pay attention to pop culture news too much. I just kind of saw that headline so many times that, yeah, now I want to, come back here and look at this. But it's something like, celebrities are complaining about the cost of electricity, or about their electricity bills being up to 3 times higher than they're used to. And I like I said, I haven't clicked on the article, just kind of reminded me.
Now, that's got to be because they're high consumers. They're high net consumers. That's all I can figure there. But, you know, what are they spending on? What do they have running? A lot of lights because maybe they're just really big fans of like, I don't know, gosh, they've got giant old like electric pool heaters or something. They are into some kind of like a exotic hobby that requires massive power consumption.
I don't know. I'm looking for it right now.
They've got, I know what it is. They've got a giant tableau of animatronic figurines that are life size out in their backyards, so they can go and interact with people who are humanoid but don't offend them because they've really
that would be. That sounds just about right. Okay, so here I've got the article up. All right, this is about celebrities in India.
And can you link it to me? I'll show our audience.
Yeah, absolutely. I got it. Send it. There you go.
Nice. So this is on Sci-Fi. Tell us, Nicole.
Yeah. What about it? So yeah, like I said, I'm just reading this for the first time now too. I don't know if this is, specific to India, but it said that, a Bollywood star has complained about receiving an inflated electricity bill for the month of June. Lists several other celebrities who've made similar complaints. Inflated bill for the month of June. What are these new electricity rates? What is this price surge? Attached pills or pictures of the electricity bills showing how she was charged 36,000 rupees for the month of June, whereas for the month of April, it was 4,300 rupees, and May was 3,850 rupees.
Gosh darn it.
That's a major spike.
Yeah, that's huge. So I wonder if that's a problem with the utility, or I wonder if maybe there's a bit of an issue in Forex at relative values between the rupee and some other national currencies.
Oh.
Maybe.
So the company responded to the complaint saying that they've restarted physical meter reading, which was temporarily halted in March because of COVID-19. Bills were generated on the lower side, being an average of preceding those 3 months. So what they are saying is, at least that's what this is what this looks like to me, is that they were guessing how much electricity was used without actually reading the meters.
Oh my gosh.
And because of that, it seems like they underestimated and then kind of took an average of the three. So I'm not 100% sure. This isn't the best article that I've ever read.
Still relevant. That's pretty crazy that it would happen anywhere. I mean, but let alone, it's almost like there's a bit of a sort of an eat the rich approach there, right? Where it's like, you're celebrities, you can pay it. You can float our utility company over here. Okay, well.
Yeah, but okay, so anyway, that was totally irrelevant and didn't have anything to do with mining. I'm sorry.
Meh, whatever. It's a good segue anyway. Guys, so what to mine? Don't say I never did anything for you. That's our mining segment for the day. Moving on.
All right. Yeah. Okay, so of course, in crypto news, how can we talk about anything without discussing Bitcoin's volatility? And what's really funny about the way that this is kind of being handled in crypto media is just, it's kind of bizarre. So you've got those articles, right, Seth?
I do, but I had the photo of Niraj up first.
Okay, all right. We'll do that part. Hey, Dominic, you still there?
Yep.
All right. Are you familiar with Niraj? You are, right?
Niraj?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
No, not to disappoint you. I'm not aware of that.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's been hard to keep up to date with crypto. It's ever growing. It's ever expanding. Now I just keep up to date with the major players, Ethereum and all that stuff. I try to keep up to date with the bigger, bigger things. I still keep up to date with the other players, BAT and stuff like that. So
yeah, and my drama, of course.
What?
And whatever crypto Twitter drama is related to me. And
yeah, I'm gonna see it, and But yeah, tell me more about it.
All right, so let's see if I can send you a link to that tweet so that you can see it. I know you've got it on the screen, Seth.
I do.
So let's just ask the audience for now, what would you guys do?
Yeah, tell us, guys, down in the comment section. This guy shows up in your stable.
Let us know. What would you do? All right, so I'm going to send you this link, Dominic, in Twitter. And tell us what you would do. So I think that this is particularly funny because there's some kind of history of Niraj comments about firearms. Is that right?
Yeah, he's not exactly anti-Second Amendment, but he's one of those guys who's just like, I don't know. You may have seen my tweet earlier on today. I'm personally of the very strong opinion that you cannot really be sort of like,
I saw it.
Right, about like crypto sovereignty or about like blockchain, about like ownership of keys and stuff, and also be like super anti-Second Amendment gun grabber. I just don't think they're compatible worldviews, personally. And
I agree.
That's what got us to start doing the show together, right, Nicole?
It is, yeah. I made a video about the importance of two-way.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
It's like people who say like, well, the First Amendment is super important, but they don't get why the Second Amendment is so close to it.
Right.
Yeah. So Yeah. So Niraj will say stuff like that. That's kind of like quasi gun grabber. That's kind of like quasi anti-Second Amendment. But then he's like this. He's super bullish on Bitcoin.
Mhm.
Oh, sorry, my bad, guys. That was actually a user you were talking about. I thought you were talking about a crypto project.
No, yes, we're talking about your
I'm such a crypto noob. Oh my gosh, I feel like an idiot right now.
No, don't. I mean, you know what? Like, even just keeping up with like major players in the thing is like that's a ton to.
Yeah, I mean, I keep up. I've been following Crypto Dude for like a while. I've been following, Not So Fast. I mean, there's a lot of people to follow out there. So it's obviously you don't see me scrolling through Twitter all day. So
Yeah. Okay, so someone said, can we talk about Haven if the mainnet releases and works? It's game changing. We talked about Haven really briefly last week, and I think we're gonna try to do that again sometime really soon, right? But yeah,
I think so. So back in the day, guys, you know that I interviewed Don Jor. He's no longer with the project, at least not publicly, but they do have some of their advisors still on board. Some of our community, Yankee, Greg, others, you'll remember that the infamous Imperdino Paladin was a member of our community for a long time and became an advisor to Haven, which for me is what maintained my faith in the leadership of that project as they were going through change management, right? Dealing with the new team. And so that for me was like, all right, not going to write these guys off. If he's advising, they've got a future. So the new team has talked about coming back onto the show with Nicole and me in one of these Mondays. And I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah, and I've got DMs from the new lead developer of Haven. He definitely wants to come on the show. We're working on it. Also, I had a friend of mine who is a seed stage VC take a look at Haven in the last 48 hours. And like when he wrote back to me after, like, he was like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you found it."
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, you're like, hey, don't forget about me when you guys blow up. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, moving on and moving back to, so we never really, anybody want to say, what would you do if you walked into your stables and there's Niraj with a semi-automatic weapon? What do you do, Dominic?
We don't have that situation here unless cops have that.
There's illegal firearms.
Wait, where's here? Now we got to know. Don't dox yourself, but where are you talking about?
Look, people are going to still know where I'm from because, I mean, I'm a node community manager. I have to be transparent, and people are going to see it from my LinkedIn. They're going to see where I'm from. It's on my LinkedIn. Look, if people want me to dox and be immature, go ahead. It's all there. I don't have nothing to hide. It's whatever. So I'm from Canada. It's, everyone in the community knows that. In notes community knows that. So sure. I'm from Canada.
Canada's a small place. We'll find you, I'm sure.
And and it's not exactly like totally unheard of that someone would have weapons in Canada. I mean,
yeah, but it's quite
in the US.
It's more fire it's more like hunting guns, like rifles to hunt, and it's not like M14s or whatever M4s. We don't have that here. Like we can't legally have that. Yeah, that I know of. But
people can illegally have firearms.
The majority don't have guns. Like, compared to the United States, we can't just go to a store and get it whatever kind of gun we want. We can't go to get a machine gun if we want, but we don't have that.
We can't go to get a machine gun here if we want either. We haven't been able to since 1984, practically.
Okay, well, I'm seeing people who have videos showing machine guns and whatever. So it's like, how the hell do they get that?
It's so actually a lot of those. I'm glad you asked. So a lot of those were manufactured prior to 1984, and a lot of those have been. I'm thinking 94. Sorry, guys. Sorry for the gaffe there. But prior to 1994, a lot of those were manufactured, and a lot of those they can now be transferred. That the ownership can be transferred. But frankly, the majority of those fully automatic weapons that you see, they were manufactured prior to that point, and they just kind of maintained circulation. That said, it's also really all right. Americans in the chat, be kind to our guests.
I didn't know that. Thank you for enlightening me on that. That's good to know.
What was crazy about gun laws here?
Yankee says it depends on how quick Niraj's draw is.
Right. Well, here's the thing. You see, now Yankee sees also in this photo. That's where Niraj's head has been photoshopped onto. he's got impeccable trigger discipline. So yeah, maybe Yankee, you're a little faster than he is. He's moving his finger down to the bang switch. But
that became a meme fast.
Dude, right?
Wow, I just saw a video, instant meme.
Yeah. That said, I mean, and we could kind of go there. But so Dominic, just I don't want to like belabor the point, but a lot of folks who are pro gun control in the United States will say, hey, we need more gun laws to keep people safe. And what they don't know is that at the federal level, we have, I think it's nearly 2,000 gun laws already on the books. And across every state level in the aggregate, we've got tens of thousands of gun laws here in the United States. And guess what? We still have over 300 million guns here. So,
realistically, making guns illegal only prevents those who obtain them legally from obtaining them, not people who are going to buy them illegally anyway. Doesn't stop anybody.
Can I share my thoughts? I don't know. I'm just sharing my.
Please.
I could be completely ignorant about this, but because I mean, I look into American politics more than I look into my own country, which is really funny. Yeah, I'm very
about Trudeau. You're gonna have to answer for him after this. So mind your P's and Q's.
But
I
was self-reflecting a lot on. At first, like there's a part of me that doesn't agree with gun laws, but for the Americans who love the guns, and I kind of agree with the fact that the reason why you guys are allowed to have guns, it was because the fact that Trump or the president can use the army against its own country. I don't know if it has to do with that, because when I think
That's
about
why we have the Second Amendment is so that people are able to protect themselves from the potential of government going bad.
Yeah, so that's the thing. So I was like thinking about that and how the Civil War back then, and it just made me like realize like it makes sense that the American people are afraid, because look at where Trump is like saying we're going to put martial law, and it can be very dangerous when the government has that amount of power. The government was made by the people for the people and only for the people, and Abraham Lincoln said that to himself. That's where I just find that it's sad that the American government, they forgot that. I'm not an American, but there's some principles that I do feel like, the democracy that America once knew is no longer there as much. It's sad.
Yeah, I think you're probably right.
Gun laws and gun control, and like Seth and I could probably go on for a really long time.
I mean, look, I don't think that. Like, I think there's regulation is important, just like anything, because some people they shouldn't have guns. There's some people who have really poor judgment, and you shouldn't be using. People take for granted that they can use a gun on you because you're on their land, but you're not really in danger. And there's different laws. See, people who have guns, they don't necessarily know the laws that make them entitled to use a gun. So it really.
Or know how to use a gun at all. And I don't disagree that that's a major problem, but making them illegal or making it more difficult to get them for people who do know what they're doing or are, trying to protect themselves on some, level seems, I don't know, crazy to me. And particularly right now, when the importance of having a gun isn't even related to whether or not it's legal for you to do so, right? Like, so in the US, I mean, across the world right now, with everything that's going on, with riots, with marches, with people being laid off and having no funds in their savings, people are afraid of, shortages in food and in supply chain. People are afraid that their households are going to be robbed. And even people who cannot legally own guns because they live in states or places where, where that's not legal.
Yeah, it's really scary when I think about it. Like, I don't know how things would be in Canada. Like, I'm going to say I personally feel safe in Canada, but the thing is we've never faced such a scenario where things can go really out of hand. I would say that in Canada we're not everyone's perfect, but
well, Well, Canada is young enough a country that you might not have a cultural sense memory of austerity. Let me qualify that statement and talk a little less like a nerd, a little less like a, you guys haven't known struggle in the same way that some other established countries have. Not the same way.
Yeah, it's not the same thing. Obviously, I don't recall we have ever had a civil war before, and that's where like there's a huge divide. And also, we have 3 parties in our government, where that's why there's like a middle ground where it's like, right now we have a minority government because of the NDP. But in politics, it's you only have Republicans or Democrats, and then it's like there's
we do have third parties. Just to be clear, we do have other parties.
Yeah, sure. It's just that the fact is that there's not enough one to be strong. And like the system in the United States is not the same as in Canada, like in terms of parliament and how the House of Commons and like the Senate and all that stuff. And that's why like there's not the government, there's not one extreme so much like to the other, because there's always a middle party. Like if let's say the Conservatives, won, okay, well, the odds of them winning a majority government, there's a less likely chance, and then it gives the other party who has the other highest vote can play a part in the decision making as well. Oh, it's really, the politics in Canada are very different.
Yeah, no, for
sure.
sure.
To make sure that everyone's voice is being heard.
As long as they're using the correct pronouns, right? Because there is compelled speech. So.
Yikes.
Hey, I went there. So look up Jordan Peterson and see also Jordan Peterson. Yeah.
All right. So let's move on to Bitcoin volatility.
Yes.
All right. So, of course, Bitcoin is volatile, right? I mean, it's value in terms of fiat currency changes moment to moment, exchange to exchange. What's interesting right now is that the way that crypto news media outlets are reporting on Bitcoin's price volatility moving forward seems to be really contradictory, and leads us into our final point about crypto media. So there's the CoinDesk or Cointelegraph article talking about the miners moving large chunks of their holding to the exchange, and that potentially being a bearish signal for Bitcoin.
So I want to say that it was CoinDesk, the 2 articles that you sent me about markets that those are both on CoinDesk, and I don't see the one about miners moving their funds as a market indicator.
All right, let me look and see if I can find it.
I think I know what article Nicole is talking about. I think I've read that article.
Okay, cool. Sorry about this, guys.
Yeah, no worries. So in the meantime, though, the ones that you sent, it said Market Wrap. This is from 29th. Market Wrap, Bitcoin traders expect big move as volatility plummets. And yeah. And
I think that this article was a discussion about Bitcoin volatility. So maybe not. Maybe that's the other one. Coin Market Wrap, and then the other one was the Bitcoin facing greater price volatility than Ether in Q3. Okay, so that is the first one is about miners making up a small percentage of the daily sell pressure. However, the fact that they have miners aren't really speculators with the Bitcoins held on their balance as inventory. Says Austin Storms, founder of mining mobile infrastructure company Bearbox. Miners will readily sell their Bitcoin for cash to reduce risk or expand operations. But to infer that miners sending coins to exchanges is a bearish market signal, according to Storms, is a big reach.
Yeah, I don't know. These do seem like contradictory reports. Let's talk about that. Nicole, you worked in crypto publishing. This is crazy.
I want to bring up my own thoughts on this, but we'll go ahead.
All right, go.
I want to hear you guys. I don't want to steal the spotlight.
So, as somebody who worked in crypto media,
yeah, please.
I gotta tell you, this isn't abnormal, because a lot of the contributors aren't paid staffers. They're paid writers. They're paid by the word, usually not very much. So the way that it kind of works is the media outlet doesn't actually care if the information contained within your article is correct. They care only if that article gets clicked on.
Oh,
So,
no.
yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that that's true of all crypto media outlets. I'm saying, but that is generally a true statement of media, that unless you're participating in some kind of paid media, like most of these, groups do have their free articles, and then they kind of have their paid, more professional work that, isn't for mass consumption. And now I think that they do care a lot more about their paid channels, because your ability to predict what is, what happened in the past is indicative of your ability to predict what will happen moving forward, and why would people continue to pay for a service if you couldn't correctly predict it. That said, if two people pitch very opposing views of the same topic in crypto medium newsroom message board, I've seen them approve both of them. You write it that way. You write it that way.
The same news article shares two different contradictory opinions.
Well, so there's two articles by CoinDesk. And so the second one is about Bitcoin volatility, and actually Bitcoin facing greater price volatility than Ether in Q3, which is kind of surprising given, the amount of dApps that are being built on top, that have been built, that are being built on ETH, and kind of the sort of focus or expected surge in DeFi. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's strange where in one article we're talking about how volatile or how not volatile, how Bitcoin's volatility seems to be tabling off, and then in the next article, like I said, published hours from the first, that Bitcoin is facing greater price volatility than Ether. I don't understand. I don't know. Just kind of something to talk about.
Yeah, I think it's pretty strange also. And again, we already flashed the disclaimer card earlier on in the show, but we don't offer any kind of trading advice or technical analysis. Even if you want that, go find it somewhere else. There are really good resources for it. But this is in part why finding accurate market signals, just sentiment, even figuring out how do people feel about this asset. It's so hard in crypto. Like
I just make it simple. I look at fundamentals as much as I really keep my life simple for that. I'll use a little bit of technicals, but it's the simple technicals I'm using, like supply demand. There's actually, Warren Buffett uses that. Like professional traders and institutional traders, investors, they do that.
Nice.
Like COVID is a very strong fundamental. World fundamentals will always undermine anything, even the market. Now we're not talking about, so like we'll give you an example. COVID in March, you saw Bitcoin go from 10,499 to like 3,800 ish in a few days.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just because of the COVID news and everything was going crazy. Now we're talking about volatility. You guys are talking about volatility. Me, what I look at a lot of uncertainty in terms of the money coming into crypto for at least the short term. Because look at the cases of COVID worldwide. They've increased. In the United States, they're the worst hit. The United States is one of the countries that has the most, you take out a percentage of workforce, let's say, I think it's like 20%. What's the percentage now, the amount of unemployment? Is it like 1 million?
In the US, it's over 50%.
50%?
Isn't it something like 40 over 50%? It's absolutely over 40% of the US is currently unemployed.
Okay, so here's the thing. Okay, so people are speculating that people are going to because of the money that's being given out, but United States are not the same thing as Canada. We have a little bit more of a different system where actually
You're far more socialist than we are.
we're still capitalists, but generous capitalists. Let me correct you on that. Our system is there's still capitalist concepts, so there's some socialism aspects, and it's the best of both worlds, really. But anyways, the point is that you look at United States. The speculation is people are saying, oh, well, people are going to go into Bitcoin because of the money. Well, no, that's not going to happen. Not because of inflation, not because a majority of the people in the United States don't even support crypto. You look at the percentage, I'm just looking at the facts. There's higher odds. When you look at the odds, there's a higher odd. And don't get me wrong. I'm going to get crucified by people who support and want Bitcoin to go up. I'm just looking at the higher odds. I'm not saying it's going to go down. I'm not saying it's going to go up. I'm just looking at the probabilities of why things go down and up. The people who are into crypto, if they're jobless or they're making less money or they're not making any money, how are they making their money to put more money into crypto if they believe that the inflation is going to, yes, cost of living is going to increase. Hyperinflation might happen. Who knows? Whatever.
So again, not financial advice. We don't do that here, right? But we have had, someone who I used to work for on the show who is a financial advisor. His name is Tim Pashot, the Liberty advisor. And we were talking about exactly this, that, in January and February, before we really knew how severe the global risk of, the global pandemic COVID was, he was standing on stage saying, hey guys, in the event of a recession, Bitcoin is going to crash. I was there, so I saw it happen.
Well, it's going to happen.
But he wasn't the only crypto-friendly economist or financial advisor who said that was going to happen. When people don't know where their next meal is going to come from or how they're going to pay their mortgage that month because they've just been laid off and they don't have any savings, they're not buying Bitcoin.
Well, that's that's a strong fact. Look, I'm pro crypto. Okay, I demise fiat for the life of me, but we have kind of no choice. But when you look at the history of Great Depression, Bitcoin was created out of the recession. That's the thing. People are thinking Bitcoin was made for the recession or for a depression, for COVID. No, Bitcoin was created out of recession and it still had to prove that. Now people are saying it's keeping stable because of that, but it did not prove that in March. It proved that people panicked. And now if, let's say there's another lockdown, let's say United States, all of the United States officially decides, okay, we have a lockdown for real. Because of the COVID is getting really bad and people, there's both sides of the story. I could bring my own opinions on what people are not looking at and saying, oh, the data is false. Yeah, well, you're not really looking into the data. I know healthcare workers. I know people who worked in health, in hospitals. I've known people who got COVID. That's just.
I was, by the way, totally paranoid that I had COVID last week.
Right. That's why she wasn't on the Saturday show, guys. If you saw my fake co-host.
The point is that,
by the way, with the messed up Barbie.
You like that? With the night out makeup? Yeah.
The point is, guys, is that with all this, Bitcoin was not made for that. Yes, it's made to be decentralized and to be. I personally use it as a tool if I want. The Chinese people in China, they'll use it to move funds in the United States because the Chinese government, they control their money. Bitcoin is very useful for that, especially if you want to get out of the control of a government, of a communist government or something. It still has a future. I still believe it has a future. But I'm not going to say what price. I don't do that. I don't price predict.
Well, just because you said that.
Yeah, I think I saw an article today that was price prediction. It was a price prediction for Bitcoin in the year 2030, and it was down to the dollar in the 300,000 range. And I was like, seriously, this has to be a joke, right? Because we have no idea.
So. I'll explain to you why that prediction was made. So when you divide the value of gold, the amount of gold worldwide, if we go with the golden standard, okay, think about that. And there's
That's
about
just, I mean, we don't know that there's that much gold worldwide, right?
well, yeah, there's about $5 trillion something like worth of gold. Like UK and United States
Right,
have
that's already been mined. That's already been mined.
That's already been mined.
Someone's not going to discover.
So but the thing is that when you look at the information, the yield, the amount of gold being found right now is getting harder to find new gold. So the demand is increasing. I'm not trying to hype in being a Peter Schiff here and pump gold. Like I rather buy Bitcoin than gold. Like
Sure.
you know,
Sure. And we're not trying to give you a hard time. We'll let you finish your thought. So just using gold and taking for granted that the value remains constant.
So let's say we use the gold as the golden standard of Bitcoin. Okay, you divide the amount of gold, or you make the divide the amount of gold with the amount of Bitcoin, or like you'll have the valuation, the true value, like the top, like the potential that Bitcoin could have if you take out fiat out of the picture.
Okay,
because if you look at the golden standard.
So it sounds like we're trying to peg the demand then for Bitcoin for this model, peg the demand to people who already have gold in their portfolio, is what you're saying.
Possibly. I personally, that's how I look at it. People who make those predictions, I was just looking at that because I wasn't trying to look at what fiat, because when you look at it, if fiat is going to go kaput, then it has no value, right? But gold has value. It still have value in the worldview, I guess, regardless. And that's how we would value Bitcoin maybe in a future. Or there's talks of a digital money. Maybe they will peg the digital money that they're creating to gold. Like, I don't know. Like, it's personally,
the actual plan is to print $2 trillion large coins and then have the Treasury buy them from the Federal Reserve.
I just don't believe that you should be able to print.
I'm not kidding.
I know. But it's just imagine a $2 trillion bearer instrument. I mean, like, what black hat in their right mind isn't thinking like, all right, and we got a new gold medal here.
I want to say something else. Say all these economists, like I don't care. Like, I don't have an education in this, okay? But I'm going to go with common sense here. They say that the economy is going well. Trump says the economy is going well. Whatever. Everyone's saying the economy, the economy isn't recovering. Guess what? The economy has never recovered since the golden standards have been taken off. You know why? Because when you look at the dollar value, sorry, I'm raising my tone.
No. Hey, this is me agreeing with you, brother. Preach on. Because we believe in sound money here. We believe in sound money here.
Okay. When money loses 98% of its value, purchase power, that is not an indicator of a. Oh, I'm getting so pumped up about this. Sorry, guys.
we found the Canadian hot button. This is good.
It's not an indicator of a good economy. The fact that when a $20 bill used to buy $200 worth of groceries, that doesn't sit right.
No, agreed. Mm-hmm. Yeah, agreed. The rate of inflation is just not right. So let's okay. Oh man. Okay, so
the final news, so that we can get into the social media stuff and talk about Note. So the last piece of news that we want to talk about is authorities in Spain taking down a dark web child porn site and arrest of multiple members. Seth?
So this is an interesting one, and members of the community and the audience may know I've been interested in alternative publishing platforms for a couple of years now. I was on DTube and was there for, I leveraged it to some advantage 2 years ago. I think my earliest publication on DTube is a little over 2 years old. And I had a couple of publications that, they did really well. The Steam and the Steam dollar equivalent of $45, $100 for a given post. It's awesome. Mm-hmm. It's a publisher's dream come true, right? To be able to make one video that pays for your day. And, it would give you the false impression that you could maybe become a professional publisher using these alternative platforms. Now, it was painful and it was entirely IPFS backed. Tried out BitTube. Try it out. Now I'm on library.io. We've taken a look at 3Speak, and there's so many others, right? Float app. Now there's Twitch that you're talking to the developer of. So many alternative platforms. But one of the problems that I looked at early on, it just dawned on me, especially if you're using certain kinds of blockchain-backed systems, is that when authorities like these guys try to take down the really nasty people who exploit people who probably need protection, right? Youth, minors, those who may be disabled or have been involved in human trafficking and cannot defend themselves any longer. They're no longer autonomous, right? They are no longer sovereign over themselves. These people, even if they're adults, right? Men and women, boys and girls who are publishing any kind of pornographic media in which they don't have choice, they need some level of protection. Once those images or that video has been published onto something like IPFS, that's it. It's immutable. It's forever on that blockchain. You cannot ever get it back at all. Like, it's highly problematic. And I have not gotten a straight answer from some of the maintainers of these projects, because they say, oh, well, it's a risk we're just going to have to take. Yeah, in order to.
They're not going to like that risk with the new law. They're not going to. Oh boy, with the American law.
So what was interesting here was that they said that experts so they expect. I wrote this down. Experts have since claimed that investigators in the Telegram Nth Room case, which is this case of child pornography being, used, of the child pornography site being taken down on the internet, they said that they could have trouble identifying users who used crypto payments. So I guess, as terrible as what we're talking about is, they're talking about the difficulty of tracing crypto. So another article, about the U.S. plans to monitor illegal crypto activities more sufficiently seems, again, like,
Yeah.
Again, contradictory media.
Yeah, no, I hear you. And it seems like when it comes to certain kinds of like crime in the United States, it seems like the law needs to probably be applied more heavily towards Johns than it does towards any kind of sex workers, etc. But I don't think that's what they're saying. I think what they're saying is they're struggling just to figure out how payments are being run anyway. Is that's what we were getting at before with the Spanish authorities, that they're not finding their Johns, their consumers, right?
Yeah, they're finding that even though they can kind of trace some people online, they're actually, they're being able to take down developers and people who have people who are running these sites. But as far as just people who are transacting in private cryptocurrencies, they're struggling. So as terrible as that is in the case of, pedophilia and human trafficking, the case of, hey, crypto works and can truly obfuscate your identity from anybody who may be trying to track your purchases, that's a positive.
Yeah, agreed there 100%. Bullish for private cryptocurrencies. Totally.
Yes. So I guess, we do definitely want to move on because we've been in this segment for over an hour now, and, that's never our aim. But this article, you have the article that I highlighted up. It's the Cointelegraph, but I think that I sent it to you with marker.
Yeah, I thought I had that up. You know what? Let me pull it up.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought I had that up already. Sorry.
No, it's fine. Okay, so what I think is important as we consider this is they're talking about, the U.S.'s plans to choke off the drug supply funneling into the U.S. and curtail the opioid epidemic from getting worse. The DEA has been cracking down on the most powerful Mexican drug cartel known as the Cartel de Jalisco, that controls 2/3 of the U.S. traffic of cocaine, heroin, methamphetamine, and fentanyl-laced heroin. Honestly, that's a lie. Like, I can't even tell you that's it's a lie. And here's why. The largest trafficker of opioids in the U.S. is Big Pharma.
Ding, ding, ding. Oh, no.
Oops. Rip.
Yeah. So, in terms of what are they really doing to try and make sure that, drugs can, or to make sure that illegal transactions don't occur. Yeah, they're just making sure that small time criminals who aren't in the government are having a harder time transacting.
Well,
Just so that we're very clear about what's going on here.
so I think that's hilarious. First off, that you're able to clearly demonstrate that there's a problem that is not necessarily these cartels, but I think it does cut to the heart of the air quotes war on drugs issue, which is that it should always have been about. They should have just been open and honest about this from day one and said, "Look, we want to regulate and tax this." Just be clear about your intentions. If you want to regulate and tax something because that's a way that you can make meaningful sense out of it and you can flip it into your agenda as a federal government or state or local government, then just say it. Yeah.
Hence why the marijuana is legal in Canada.
There you go. America's hat. They've got it figured out.
Yeah. All right. So now, unless you guys want to stay talking about this, I think that we should move into not specifically talking about Note, though I can't wait to do that, but just sort of talking about some of the other social media platforms that Note maybe get up against, and not Twitter, but we're talking about stuff like Twitch.
Yes. Hey, this is great because Note right now, Note social media or Note social, which is attached to Note blockchain. I don't think it touts itself as like a video hosting platform, right? It's not meant to be like a competitor to YouTube, is it?
Our intent is not, as I'm aware of, but we haven't planned that. Our plan was to try to be an alternative to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, and etc. So we're just trying to be the alternative out there to those platforms.
Okay. Well, let's talk about then some
not even really take over those platforms, which is something that I've always really liked about Note, is that I've never felt like pressure from the development team or from anybody who's kind of on that Note core team to, one, buy tokens, or to abandon any other social media platforms that we use, right? It's like, this exists in addition to, not exception of.
I'll share my comments on that really quick. I'm actually learning to become, like, I'm studying. I want to go to college for social media management and then eventually become a manager for that. And I know one thing for sure is I'm going to be learning to use different platforms. You got to be neutral. You use what you like to use. If you like to still use Facebook, that's your call. If you like to use Twitter, that's your call. I still use Facebook and I still use Twitter, and we kind of got to use it because if we want to promote Notes, either way. It's our values though is to go where we want to compete for the things that we don't believe is right on Twitter and on Facebook. We're trying to solve issues in different platforms that they don't want to solve. Or trying to solve, and it's not always easy, but we want to.
Got it. Let's talk about that. So if you had to distill that down to maybe a top concern, or maybe the top 2 or 3 concerns of issues that you think are broken fundamentally on Twitter, what would those be? The short list.
It's obviously just like on Facebook. It's highly politically influenced, highly politically influenced, censorship. The fact that it's controlled by bots.
You're right. Yeah.
And the fact that there's no edit. And people have been begging for an edit like for the longest time ever. And Jack, sorry if you're watching this. I mean, come on, like you're a freaking $1 billion company. Like, do something.
Yeah, they've been really slow. It's
so that's not an excuse. They're $1 billion company. You shouldn't be that slow.
Yeah, that's probably true. It's funny because Mark Zuckerberg, his whole team, there was their mantra, right, was move fast and break things. And in the early days of Facebook, every other day that you logged in, the UI would change because stuff would get adjusted, right? They'd move fast and break things within their own user interface. They would absolutely keep things fresh and moving. Yeah, Twitter is not that way at all, to your point.
Yeah. But, sorry, I'm just responding to a comment.
Is there a lot of hate comments? I can't see anything.
No, there's really not. Someone is saying that he uses Note for updates on his game streaming. I don't think that he's talking about the same Note.
He might be. Yeah, no, he might be. Yeah, so this is
yeah.
T-Bone. And I also see a comment from Serpent XSF. Hey, thank you, Chris, for dropping in. Another notable mining-oriented content creator. He says, in a world filled with the elite streaming platforms, what can Note do to extend its online presence? As a content creator, there's a constant pressure to pump out content or fail. We'll get back to that in a moment, Serpent, because I think that...
Yeah, we do want to talk about some of the other social media platforms that exist kind of before we go into this depth.
You may need to repeat that question so I can think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll definitely repeat it. Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about some of the other, I don't know, decentralized or less centralized or just alternative social media platforms where people can earn
hybrid.
Yeah, hybrid. Okay, so where people can earn crypto. I'm a big fan of the hybrid model. So where people can earn crypto, there's quite a few. I didn't have a chance to, experiment with all of them, but in the last few days, I have been playing with Mines and Twitch.
Awesome. So I've got Twitch up on the screen. I'm going to go to it's just mines.com, right? So
yeah, Mines. Yeah. So, as far as what do I think, I had a Mines account before that I actually was surprised that I was still able to get into, because I thought that I received a message saying that if I didn't log in, then my account was going to be gone, but it was still there. So I don't know. I guess, it's not really a fair comparison to, I haven't spent nearly as much time on Mines as I have on Note. I don't have a an existing community there. I posted last night, hey, I haven't been here for a while and kind of want to get an idea of what's going on. Where should I look? Nobody responded.
Oof.
That would never happen on Note.
We always try to respond as fast as we can. If not, we have other community members that they know how to reach us to respond to that question.
Yeah. So that was, one major downfall of Mines. That said, that's not really enough to, it seems like there's not tons of activity there. Twitch, I spent more time with. And yeah, I have definitely some thoughts to offer on this. One, I don't really, so to log into Twitch, because I'm using Brave browser still. Some people, whatever. Okay. I'm still using it. So because I am using Brave, I was having a really hard time logging into Twitch, and they had to tell me that I had to, I wrote it all down. I had to, so I had to change my settings in the Brave browser. I had to change my shields and disable all shields to allow cookies and device recognition and remove the shields. So that said, it was easy to do, and I was able to log in as soon as I did. But I actually wanted to ask you, Seth, what does disabling those shields that Brave has in place, what kind of security risk, if any, does that?
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
Yeah, I'm glad you asked. One additional risk that it may pose is not just that it decreases the amount of ad block that is enforced for that site, but it may also decrease the amount of security, at least for SSL certificates. So, when you go to a site and it's HTTPS as opposed to HTTP. So Chrome and other variants of Chromium browser, they draw a hard line and will show you a little lock next to a site that is not that is fully secured in that way. Yep. So it could be that there are mixed elements on a page that are served from a site that doesn't have an SSL certificate. That's a vulnerability. That's a weakness. There could be an iframe embedded element or some other element on the page that is not being served from a site that has an SSL certificate. And so it goes beyond that. See, like it's not just the one site that you're navigating. So you can have a lock with a break in it, but those shields will have a strict enforcement of SSL certificate integrity, right? So it'll tell you.
Now that I have those shields disabled so that I could access Twitch, I have to go back and re-enable them so that I'm safe when I'm browsing the internet off of Twitch, right?
Well, the nice thing
what
about
kind of vulnerability does that
Well, browsers like Brave, as well as variants of it, Dissenter's fork of it, Braver browser, and then also anything that uses a custom ad block registry that you keep locally, such as the BitTube plugin, or just plain gosh, what the heck is it forked off of? The ad block, uBlock Origin. They're all forked off of uBlock Origin. That's Brave's big dirty secret, is that their ad block is all entirely copy pasta forked from uBlock Origin. So the king daddy of all this ad block, uBlock Origin, it'll save your preferences per site. So you'll whitelist just that one site. And then when you go to other sites, Brave does this as well. It imitates this behavior. Those shields will be re-enabled for other sites.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes me feel a little bit better.
Yeah. So there's that. You're probably safe everywhere else you browse for the most part. But at the same time, on Twitch, if somebody is able to figure out a vulnerability, if they're able to inject some kind of malicious elements onto the page because of the nature of different elements that you can post to Twitch, then you have a bit of a vulnerability there, because that page is now serving mixed security elements to you. Again, as a bit of a layperson in this space, I'm not an expert on front end security or development. But as I understand it, that's not the safest way to browse. So,
all right. So you have experience with Twitch as well, Seth.
Mm-hmm.
Hey,
a little bit.
So for one thing, I guess before anybody says anything, right? Like, Twitch is a BSV project, and whatever. But like, we're trying to take an objective look at some products that are actually working. Twitch is one of them. Okay.
Yeah.
I actually know another one I haven't tested yet, but I actually have the app on my phone.
Okay, cool.
Guys,
let us know what it is.
As much as like I represent notes, like I'm not, it's competition's always good.
You're not a note. Yeah, competition is good because it pushes something forward.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I was told an app called NrdGrl007, so you guys can look into that as well if you want.
I've heard of that one actually. Yeah.
So.
But okay, so with Twitch specifically, and because we've kind of taken a pretty like anti-tribalist statement here, right, Seth? Like from the time that, at least since I've come on the show, and so we have one of the developers for the Twitch platform coming on next week. Hopefully next week. I guess I need to talk to him and make sure that he's available. But you guys know him as Coin Yeezy or Elon Moist.
It's the best username ever. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So he is coming on, if not next week, the following week, and that'll be we've got some great questions to ask him. In terms of like usability of the platform, it is easy to use. It's cool to transact in cryptocurrency and those like microtransactions, similar to Note, except for that on Note, when you first join, right, you make a post, and someone from the team or from the community kind of immediately gives that whoever it is who does that initial posting a pretty significant number of tokens, so that that person can then tip other creators and kind of keep going. Twitch is a little bit different because they are already transacting in fractional BSV. So knowing that that community is very, very strong and supportive of the token. So I think maybe that could possibly explain why there's less coin exchange. Maybe it's also just that I wasn't there for long enough, but it's not. So with Note, it's free to follow someone. It's free to comment. It's free to like. That's not the case on Twitch. It costs 10 cents to follow someone, 5 cents to like something, and 2 or 3 cents to post.
Yeah, and here's the thing. So Nicole, I saw Dominic kind of shudder and say, "Oh, it costs to follow somebody." And when I first signed up for Twitch, my thought was like, okay, that's a little bit painful. I'm not used to that. It's just uncomfortable. It's not something that I'm at all accustomed to. And social media has trained us to expect this stuff for free. But here's the thing. When everything is free, what is the product?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you got to try to track the ulterior motives. As a really early adopter of LinkedIn, I mean, I was literally like within Q1 of it launching, early adopter of LinkedIn. Similar with Twitter, similar with some other social media platforms that we now all consider just like it's everyday life, right? These are normal platforms. They're practically crossing the line, crossing the border into being public utilities at this point. But I remember early on thinking, this is so great. And how are they managing? Like, I didn't really even ask, how are they managing to do this? So few of us did in the early days. And then it kind of became apparent a couple of years in, like, oh, no. They're gearing up for massive ad campaigns, and they want us to surrender as much personal info as possible.
So they know exactly what to sell to you and when.
Yep. They hadn't even built the machine learning algorithms yet. They just knew that the more data they could get from people, they could harvest from all their user base, that the more valuable it would become in the future. They didn't even know how advanced they could make those algorithms. Whereas now, you hear people talk all the time about like, oh yeah, I was just having a casual conversation with whatever, my sister-in-law or whomever, my neighbor or something. And then Facebook picks up on my convo and serves me an ad in the same conversation. Right?
Yep.
That should be spooky.
Yeah, I don't think that. I think that should be illegal.
So let's take that, and it's polar opposite. If you wanted a really good premium social media experience, you'd probably have to pay for it, right? So would you rather pay for it all up front in a yearly subscription, like, hey, here's the $50 gold membership, or would you want to do microtransactions? I think that what Twitch is doing that kind of makes sense is they're trying to make a premium platform based on microtransactions.
Yeah, absolutely. And for that, it is great, right? I mean, so it's not instant. You definitely do. And the fact that there is, real world value associated with your posts probably makes people be just a little bit, cost a couple cents just to post something. You have to be just a little bit more thoughtful about what it is that you're saying.
It's true. So I'm on their homepage right now, the welcome page for twitch.app. /welcome. And about 2/3 down the page, it's got as one of the selling points, it says, make your haters pay you.
Yeah, I saw it. It was like, okay, that makes sense. But here, I'm going to give my few pointers on this, though. And I don't want to, like, if there's any Twitch supporters here, followers or whatever from the Twitch.
We're not even saying anything bad about Twitch. I want to.
Yeah, I'm not going to talk. I think that it has its use case. It has its niche. All I'm going to say, it has its niche, but I don't think that would be a solid case to bring to non-coiners, to people on Facebook or on Twitter who are used to the systems that are free. And obviously, Notes is going to have a system where it's where money goes to the user base from the services and from the ads. So, like, we'll talk more about that because our approach is a little different. Our approach is with what's you want to go with what people are familiar with, but with something that's unique to them. They still, which is earning money for their posts, getting tips, and so on. So it's a different approach, and that's the way I see it. I see it as the consumer, as a non-coiner. I've been in crypto for 8 years, and I've seen the problems that crypto bring in. You want to make it familiar. There's other platforms I know of that they went with this approach, and it's the most user-friendly platform that I've seen that try to mimic. It looks like almost like a mix of Netflix and YouTube in one.
Well, let's talk about this just a little bit. Okay, so Dominic, first off, I appreciate you got a bit of this background in crypto. This is the first, and I apologize that we didn't properly introduce you earlier on and ask you a bit more about your experience in cryptocurrency. But you mentioned that you've been around the space for about 8 years. I'm not going to ask you the how did you get into crypto, question, but let me ask you this. Why are you in crypto now? And when did you meaningfully enter with skin in the game? Like, when did you buy your first coins and get involved to that extent? Because that usually helps inform us better.
Yeah, I was ready for that. I was preparing myself mentally for that. So 8 years ago, I started learning about crypto, but I wasn't super dead in focused. Like, I was busy surviving. I don't remember what I was doing back then. I know that eventually I went and I took a education in business planning, entrepreneurship. But I bought some Bitcoin, my first Bitcoin, I think 5 years ago, I think. It didn't buy much because I was just playing around, exploring with it. I was very new at first, like everyone else. I was like, what the heck? Get my first hack, how is it called? Like a type like you copy paste, and it would change the address. It was my first malware on my computer, and I was like, what the heck? So I had to educate myself on security, and I'll admit that the first 2 years, I was a big fudder of like blockchain, crypto. I used to think like the people who deny it now, and because I didn't understand it. Eventually, what really got my interest was I didn't know about mining as much back then, and I understand about mining and why it did, and I educated about the money system, how everything works, and how our value lost value, like our money lost value, and the critical thinker in me emerged with time, and my values changed, my morals, my perception, I guess I became a crypto visionary, so to speak. I've started understanding Bitcoin a little bit differently than the majority who got in 2017. Like when you look at Bitcoin, I could talk more about Bitcoin and the reason why it exists, and because I don't like, if you detach the dollar value, you really, really look at what Satoshi's vision was all about. It wasn't about having a dollar value to it, and the monetary policy wasn't having money value to it. It's the algo. But anyways,
Yeah.
so later.
Sorry for the interruption. I've just got to ask. You sound like you're Quebecois. Do you speak
Yeah.
French?
Yes, I do.
Okay. All right.
Are you?
No, but I respect the game, sir. Sorry.
Okay.
As you were.
Yes, I am Quebecois. I speak French, and
okay, because you're the only Canadian I know who says Satoshi instead of Satoshi. The British way, right? Like, yeah. Okay. So, anyways, moving on. So my first Bitcoin, and then eventually, before the first, I think 2017 bull run, my first community that I got involved, it was a red coin. So just disclaimer, I don't own any red coin right now. So I really like the feel. I mean, I've learned about Dogecoin before that, and I was like, I like this. I like the feel of community, community work. And eventually, I discovered Redcoin through Bittrex, and I want to help this project. I really like the what they're trying to do. That's where kind of my sense of social. They kind of, not that they're trying to be a social media at that time, but they were trying to do something about social. And anyways, so right, yeah. So I apologize. So jumping back in time, I'm gonna have to use the Wayback Machine here for Redcoin. But it was.
So when I got into Redcoin, it was in 6 Satoshi, 5 Satoshi, or maybe 4 Satoshi. I had invested $500 for my, and then, the biggest regret of my life.
So it's your first time speculating in altcoins, really, then, was Redcoin, and didn't pan out.
Yeah, well, it's because okay, so obviously my values and my perceptions of now crypto has changed. I don't like to speculate as much. Like, I don't try to I'm not into crypto to get rich quick.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing. I don't go into that because I think it's gonna for pumps, and I go with a project. After I got my education in business planning, entrepreneurship, it kind of made me think like an investor. It made me see it differently, see the industry completely differently. And now I'm very, very picky and selective with what I invest in, with what I believe has potential for growth. I look at the market. I do a research. Sometimes I'll spend 6 months on a coin before I even decide to invest in it. But I didn't do that back then. I didn't realize I can use that. So yeah, I could have made $50,000 on that.
Yeah.
Right.
So because we are on a limited time crunch, and I really want to ask a question, and this is a specific, can you pull up that tweet I think I sent you, and I said that this was something that we should discuss? Seth, yes. I think I said, were right below the random silly question about this being a discussion to have towards the beginning of the show, and it actually ties to to another question that specifically somebody asked about note. So, do you have it up, Seth?
Yep, it is up.
Okay. So my friend Chris Lee at Central California said, I've been trying to understand two things. Why are there so many different cryptos? I've been told they have different purposes, but none of the answers I've received fully help me to understand. Are my expectations incorrect to assume that we should have just one standard? I just worry that there's too many that being created opportunistically and won't play a role in the long term. I have absolutely no basis for this, just my hunch. Don't see the necessary value. He says, not to go on a rant, but years ago, I remember someone telling me that the goal was to create one coin, not to be confused with OneCoin, to help facilitate the world economy and eliminate all of the exchange rates and fees. So I said, really the problem is that people can't agree on the best way to do that. Also, that was the mission of some cryptos, but not others. Some have real utility beyond their trading value. So I said that I would bring this up tonight. So that ties to something that somebody else asked in a discussion about Note Social, which was, why does Note need its own token? Why not just use Doge or another token that already exists?
Ooh, it's a brilliant question. So we got two questions here. First off, if I may, I'm just gonna mediate here, just briefly. For that first question, I'm desperate to hear Dominic's answer on that, but I want to hear our audience as well. Guys, please chime in. Why are there so many coins? Does it matter? Do we need to have more than one coin? I think I know the answer for our audience, because we've talked a lot about this on Discord. But tell us, what do you think? Is it important for there to be a lot of altcoins? And if so, why? What purpose does that serve? Like, be specific. And then Dominic, can you tell us on that question first? Because you experimented with Redcoin, you regretted it. What do you think of altcoins in general?
Sorry, you cut off. What do I think about what?
Altcoins in general. Do
I think about, okay.
Yeah.
Why do we not just have one coin?
Okay, so it's going to sound like I'm comparing apples to oranges, but why should there be two different, why should there be Apple, the company, and Samsung? Or why should there be different stocks into different companies that compete against each other and offer the same products? It sounds like that, but it's just, in the end, what are these companies trying to do that create demand for their stocks? It's a really silly comparison, but I'm using that. Or why do we have all these different currencies? Why do we have Canadian? Why do we have US dollar? Why do we have this? In the end, I think it makes money more decentralized. I think that makes it where people can choose what they like. I believe in freedom of money. I believe that you can choose what you choose to accept at your risk, obviously. If you want to accept Doge, you can accept Doge. If you want to accept notes, but it's the reason, why do you accept it? Do you believe in the project for it to like why do you believe in Samsung or in Apple or in gold? Why do you believe in the thing that you invest in? Why do what's the potential? Why do you accept it? Why would you accept a silver coin? Why would you accept eggs? I'm using different examples here. Sure. It's really silly examples, guys, but come on.
No. I do get it. It doesn't sound like apples to oranges to me. And to your point, as far as Apple versus Samsung, just as an example, I think there are some people who would look at that and think like, well, you can, at least for the longest time, you could own stock in Apple, where at least in the United States, you couldn't own stock in Samsung, at least not as a U.S. citizen, because it wasn't traded on any exchange here.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Same thing for crypto. Actually, or for ICOs, where you could not access an ICO before, and now you can through exchange. But some of these coins are listed on exchanges that, if you're a United States citizen, you can't get it. You can't go on an exchange because they blocked U.S. citizens or even Canadian citizens. So that example applies there too.
Cool.
But that's the only I guess explanation I can come up with. It's why do you accept the currency, like as a payment, or why do you use it? Why do you support it?
Okay.
I think what he is saying is that it's confusing for there to be so many different cryptos. For the average person, it's maybe a little bit intimidating to go, oh, I thought that the purpose of this was for there to be, one world currency so that it was easy and simple and cheap to transact and send borderless, send cross-border payments. But now we're talking about, thousands of cryptocurrencies and each one claiming that they have a unique reason for existing, and we're talking about transacting in more currencies than we do currently in, a fiat world.
Yeah, for sure. So first of all, the idea of one world currency, that vision, that fantasy, or whatever, like the word you could say, is a concept that came from Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Bitcoin, Satoshi, if he wanted to, there's a reason why he coded Bitcoin the way he did, to allow people to create something. He even said in his forums that he believed that someone could create something that would be faster than Bitcoin. Eventually, Litecoin came to light. So try to answer your question, like, okay, the best as I can, my abilities. Why is there all these different currencies? Why shouldn't there be? It's and that's maybe a stupid
I
comment.
think that his point, and like what I'm going to say, why shouldn't there be? Well, because if there were fewer tokens, then there would be greater volume on the tokens that exists.
But then you're taking away the freedom of choice. You're basically stripping away that right.
Yeah. I disagree. I disagree also to that with that logic. I don't think it's necessary. It doesn't necessarily follow that with fewer coins that there would be greater volume, because now we're seeing there's a bright and vibrant altcoin trading market, and you have more coins to trade against. Yeah, you have more coins to trade against, and with more coins to trade against, actually you improve the volatility, you improve the velocity as well, right? So you have
you also improve the interest of people wanting to trade instead of taking out of crypto instantly. I was just thinking about something and I forgot. Sorry, I cut you off, Seth.
No worries, no worries. But I think
what about the second half of that question, which is why does Social need its own token? Why not just use Doge?
Yeah, and I love that question. I love that question because if it were 2-3 years ago with, say, like almost 4,000 fewer coins in the market, I think most people would say like, okay, well, maybe you can do it better. In 2020 or in 2019, very few people are saying like, we absolutely need another coin. Please make another coin.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to try to answer the best I can. So the reason
you have perfect answers for all of these questions either. It's just
obviously this is more of a question for Ethan, but I'm going to go with what I think. The fact that we're not an ICO. If we went with Doge, then that means we wouldn't have had a pre-mine. And then we wouldn't have had a way to do the PCO, which we're doing right now, which we would need to funding eventually, like we're doing right now, to keep developing notes. Like all notes, like the app you see has been come out of the funds of Ethan. It came out of his pockets. You rarely see any project in crypto that does that takes that risk. And all the team, we all support him on the best we can with our own skills, experience, knowledge, advice, you name it. It's the only thing I can think of really to explain this reason. On a technical level, we can't, if we need to, okay, so let's say that we need to do a fork, or we want to upgrade or whatever. We can't do that where necessarily with Doge. And also, how many transactions per second can Doge do? Like per minute or whatever. That's the thing. We can't control that. Regardless of how much mining power you put in, you can't control the transaction. And eventually, we will have to update. Like microtransactions is good. We can do that. But eventually, we will need to upgrade because the mempool, there's so many transactions that can go on, and eventually you wait for like a transaction, like a Ether. Look at CryptoKitties and Ethereum.
Right.
If
Yeah.
we were, I'll give an example. I'll give an example from my own experience.
CryptoKitties was made precisely to be a decentralized application, but Note is not a decentralized application. Note
It's
is
Right.
more
That's
hybrid.
what we
it's
talk
hybrid.
about too.
Yeah.
But the blockchain is decentralized.
Right. So
like
so
your
let
coins,
me
your coin and
interject this.
Snap are
I'm going to throw a
under the
wrench. I'm
blockchain.
going to throw a wrench really fast, and I believe you'll be able to either dodge this or make a useful, productive use of this. Being that Note is a hybrid application, it's already functioning as a bit of a de facto second layer. Why not just use a separate blockchain as a settlement layer and use it for microtransactions to get what you need?
I think I know somebody else who said that once.
So I'll tell you the challenges about with the reality of I'm going to just say it. Okay, there's no, and people are not going to agree with me, but there's no app unless you're on a decentralized phone. There's no app out there that's actually fully decentralized. Hear me out.
Oh yeah, no, totally.
Hear me out.
Hey,
Hear me out.
agreed. So
Okay.
so yeah, that being the basis for the argument, we tell us.
Okay, so as much as like Tron claims that all their apps are decentralized, you require an app to have on your phone. Unless you have it on your computer. Okay, but if you have to use it on your phone, you have to go on Apple Store, Play Store, Galaxy Store, whatever. That's a central point. Until there's a solution that creates, let's say, a cell phone provider and a cell phone company, and there is a decentralized phone, but I don't know enough about it to know if it would work to make it like have a decentralized, like an actual DApp.
The phone I think that you're talking about is a Carrot Gold blockchain phone, and it's freaking amazing.
Yeah, I think of getting myself one to test it out to see, if
Canada too. And then because the way that it works with the satellite it's very cool.
So that's the thing. So, well, again, that's problematic. That's central. That's centralized right there. It still relies on a central point, and that's not what blockchain is all about. But that's the thing, is that people, they focus so much on the decentralization, but they can't accept that things have to sometimes be hybrid to work. You need to have, sometimes depending on, like, the goal is to be fully decentralized, but there's no solution that I know of that's not autonomous. This is where like AI would be the future. You would have to mix AI and blockchain to function together, where in the end there's no point of contact. And then there's the double layer. Okay, sure. Like, there was many proposed ideas. Like, I proposed an idea for the videos, but again, you're relying on someone else. Like, you're relying on someone else's tech. You're relying on. So with going with your idea, Seth, like, it could be a good idea, but you're still relying on a central point. You're piggybacking off of.
Yeah, so I hear you. That's one of the biggest problems right now when it comes to this decentralized publishing space, is that there are some groups that are going with a federated approach, where they're joining forces with other teams, or they're piggybacking off of other open source code to then have the centralized portions of their tech stack at least be open source and decentralized, but maybe not blockchain based. And then they're also relying on third parties to provide service, and they're also potentially relying on masternode operators, and then they're also potentially relying on an additional group that's providing proof of work to create a blockchain, like an actual coin, a token that's minted from a coin network, as opposed to being all, just like spawned in a smart contract on Ethereum. And I hear you. There are a lot of challenges to solve here. Thank you for playing. We're kind of, I think we're putting you on the spot here a little bit.
I hope I'm giving you good answers that, or like it makes me like learn. I hope you guys are learning something new, right? Or thinking like new, different ways of seeing this. I've been thinking about it for a long time. I do believe that a lot in the future, a lot of apps we're going to have on our phone, especially if they're pre-installed, they're going to be powered by blockchain, just like Notes. It's still powered by blockchain. It still uses blockchain technology. In the end, it's still connected to the blockchain network. So in the end, it's a hybrid. That's how I call hybrid. And there's a lot of apps that they claim to be decentralized. Oh, you're a hybrid.
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
The argument for why Twitch is superior to anything else that's out there and why you shouldn't even bother to look at anything else, according to Twitch developers, not me, right? Is that nothing else offers users the ability to actually maintain ownership of their data due to the centralization.
Sorry, repeat that.
So I'm going to actually find the exact comment that I'm talking about so that I can. Oh, you know what? FOMO just messaged me. Do you want to send him a message real quick, Dominic, while I look for this?
Do it. Is he available? Bring him on.
Yeah, he just messaged me. Can you send him a message or the link while I look through this real quick?
Yeah, wait. The link to the oh, he's gonna pop on. Okay, yeah. Yeah. Will do.
Yeah, guys, go ahead and tweet it out too. Let's get the FOMO crowd watching as well, because he's got a fan club.
Yeah. So here we go. Elon Moist, he says, you shouldn't waste your time comparing. There is no comparison to Twitch. Many scams pretend to be innovative like us. Twitch is superior in every way. It's pure genius in motion. Every post is archived on Bitcoin automatically, microtransaction, non-custodial, and the memes are dank AF.
Wow, this guy's humble and brilliant.
Yeah.
Dude, save some women for the rest of us, Elon Moist. Dang. I give up. Okay. All right. Well, all right. That's good to know.
So I'm just sharing that's kind of, that's what your competition says.
Well, look, I'm not gonna bash Twitch, and I don't know if Elon Moist is watching, but so we're talking about data right now. Sorry, kind of like there's a lot right now that was said.
So yeah, he said.
Can you make it simplify it, please? So
he says that Twitch is superior to anything else because all of the posts are archived on Bitcoin. So very, 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 very different from Note, right? Where anything that you ever write on Twitch is going to be saved on a blockchain, an immutable ledger. Okay, where Note, your posts right now are gone after 24 hours. I know that there's some plans to extend the time, but I don't think that the plan is ever to extend the time eternally. Is it?
Not that I'm aware of. I mean, we did talk. There's different ideas. Like maybe some people were asking for a month. I propose, and other users as well, that it should be a feature that people should opt in if they want to. Let's say we could go up to a month. Okay, let's say it was one month. I do believe that users should be able to be entitled to choose if they want that to stay longer than 3 months. It's a feature, as some people would say, and I believe it's a feature like Snapchat. I think that you keep in mind, it's not my opinion, doesn't mean that that's how Notes is going to be, all right?
Sure, especially with community-driven project like Note, right?
Yeah, like wherever it goes, wherever Ethan decides it goes, I'm going to support him 100%. That's just going to be 100% clear. Doesn't matter if I'm saying this is what I believe. I don't believe that your content should be I don't think you should blockchain should take away your free will from forcing you to put your content on the blockchain, because that is centralized. I do believe that is centralized. That's control. That's total control, and that monopolizes the option that you can decide to censor yourself if you need to, and also if you want to protect yourself as well. Now, I'm not 100% familiar with Twitch and how they're storing, how that works, and how you can see the image. I don't know if you can see images when you look at the Block Explorer, or I don't know. I'm just expressing my concerns about that. To me, it is a concern because.
Agreed. There's definitely problems there. Yeah.
So it's a preference. Again, we're a niche, and I do believe that whatever Twitch says, or Elon Moist says, that's his opinion. But thinking like that breeds. That just shows. Okay, if you have no competitors, if you can't work together trying to follow a gap, because we're trying to all compete against, guess who? Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, the central. But in the end, if you're going to have the mindset of, oh, we're the superior project, then you're not any better than Facebook and Twitter. You're centralized. You're trying to be a purely capitalist instead of working together with different projects for different niches. If there's one thing I've learned in my business planning lesson, is that you can work with competitors.
Yeah, you absolutely can. This is great. And I think that what you're saying, as far as there being an alternative that allows for, air quotes, ephemeral media, I think that's pretty important, because there aren't any other crypto-oriented platforms that have ephemeral media as a design goal. So, like, there is no Snapchat for blockchain. That's Note right now, right? Like, Note is kind of like Snapchat for blockchain.
Yeah, definitely. Except for the DMs, right? So, like, we use Seth, we use Signal to communicate.
Oh, yeah.
We have anything that, like, not that we have disappearing messages set, but I have disappearing messages set with a lot of other people, know?
Yeah, well, there's some conversations that you, like, for plausible deniability, that you need to have set for disappearing, right? Like, yeah.
And just a clarification, because this is a question that comes up, and Ramesh has also answered that, but I'm just going to say it for whoever's watching. The content, once it's deleted from the server. Like, that was a
question that came up during my review, was that stored somewhere? So I'm glad.
Yeah. So it gets deleted because it costs something to host. It costs money to host, and so yeah, that's the thing. So obviously there's different opinions about how the future of the content, how it's going to be hosted, because again, it's a mix of central. There's some, again, it's a hybrid, but if there's a solution that we can still have the same functionality that we have, but still works 100% more on the blockchain, where the hosting is done on the blockchain, but in the end, it keeps people's privacy. Like, their privacy is there. Like, they can still own their privacy. I think that would be very important. I think that would be something that, and there's projects out there that are working on privacy stuff related, like Harmony, or I'm just trying to think about different projects that are working on decentralized data with privacy in it.
Mm-hmm.
Where in the end, because if look, I'll give an example in here. Twitch is going to probably like, oh, we're going to do this, but probably they can't, because they're already using a blockchain that's immutable, and it's already programmed for that. But I think that if you want to be able to access someone's privacy, the person should be able to bid and ask, decide how much they get paid to view what's on the blockchain, so that they get paid for their privacy. If that makes sense.
Where, like, somebody could set their own price for their privacy. So someone who maybe has less resources, and maybe feels like they have less that they want, would sell their privacy for less. Where someone,
it could be a choice, though. Because if you're going to have your content, I don't know. I just don't like it. Like, I really don't like the idea that your content is on the blockchain. It really, like, the way that Twitch is doing it. Look, if they succeed, they succeed. They have to stop seeing other blockchain companies like us as competitors. Like,
that's one of my chief complaints with everybody who builds on BSV. I like the community. I've spent a lot of time there, despite what a lot of the rest of crypto has said about them. But that is my chief complaint: is the all around maximalism.
So I want to actually state another point here. Mm-hmm. There's a high risk of BSV. Okay, I'm not talking about trading advice and whatever. I'm saying that BSV with Craig Wright. Mm-hmm. Okay. I read the court files. Like, he can't prove it. He can't prove he's Satoshi, regardless of whatever the argument. He's lying, and that's where BSV supporters are going to get hurt eventually. And the fact that it relies on the BSV network And that means, let's say there's no more support for BSV eventually. You know, I can't say to when, I don't know, but it is what it is. If it survives, it survives. If it dies, my concern is what's going to happen to Twitch. The fact that it relies on someone that has a bad reputation right now in crypto. There's a lot of bad rep for Craig, right? For what he's done. You know, it's really hard to take credibility. Like, I really don't know why the Twitch team chose BSV. Like, why did they chose BSV? That would be an excellent question.
Because they have a pretty functioning, amazing product. Like, you know.
No, but why BSV?
Because it's, from what I know, from those who I know who have chosen to build on that platform, and I'm not, you know, a dev, but from what I have been told, it's about security on the network. So
they could have used
not like a changing network.
So they could have used Litecoin instead, or Bitcoin, but Bitcoin would have been slow for transactions. Litecoin would have been a better option when it comes to like the security of the network. They actually would have had much more hash power right there. So if we're talking about security, that security is not going to last long, especially if Craig is, you know, he loses credibility completely.
Well, that's potentially true. So I've got the GitHub repo open for Bitcoin SV though, and I would struggle to believe that Craig is committing any code to this repository for Bitcoin SV. So I think technologically, I don't foresee Bitcoin SV disappearing if Craig does or doesn't maintain.
There'll be some support, like Doge. Like, look, the developers from Doge, they left, and the Doge it was controlled by the Doge community. I mean, I have complete respect for Doge, even though it's a pump and dump coin. But I have respect for that community because they took control over that project.
Yeah,
they have my highest respect.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the contributor list to Bitcoin SV right now, and this is not me shilling in any way, man. Just so you know, this contributor list it includes everybody from the earliest Bitcoin Core devs and the earliest Bitcoin Core commits. So the list would be very big because of this. Anything that's a direct fork of Bitcoin, this could be a misleading metric. But I'm looking at the contributor list, and it's over 450 people long. Of course, it's easy to hide in that crowd, right? When you have the commit history of Bitcoin Core. So I can't tell who's active.
Well, look, if there's people who are supporting it and if they decide to like take away Craig out of the picture and they decide to take control of the PSV as a community because they like the code, if they think it's better than Bcash, I personally don't think you should call it Bitcoin. I'm just going to say, don't call it Bitcoin.
Sure. I just think this is,
it's not Bitcoin.
So just a funny little aside here. The number 5 contributor, like in the top 5 contributors, Gavin Andreessen is still top 5. Like he hasn't committed any code in like 4 years, and he's still number 5.
Okay, so I have a question. Since you're looking at it right now, is there a coder or developer listed named Code Writer?
Ooh, let's take a look. I don't see yet, but I'll take a look.
Okay, so this is something that I want to explore briefly with Elon next week, but there's a pretty interesting like interior mythology of BSV going on that's like, you know, I have a humanities degree, so I'm into it.
Well, actually, I'm looking at it now, and it's sort of like a rich list on contributions for commits. And it looks like it only shows the top 99. There is no air quotes code writer in the top 99.
Okay, so within BSV, and I'm just going to briefly tell this story because I just touched on it. There is like an anonymous developer who contributes 3 to 4 times more than anybody else in the community. And it's somebody who's anonymous who goes by the name Code Writer. And there's kind of all this mythology surrounding that person. And it's definitely interesting, you know, for those who are interested in that kind of thing.
Yeah, somebody just asked from the comment section if you are Dr. Disrespect. if you're the guy that just got deleted from Twitch. I don't know where that came from, guys. Sorry.
Wait, what? I haven't even used Twitch.
So you're saying it's probably not you, but it could be.
But I use Twitch.
Oh, I'm sorry. He was referring to Twitch, the mainstream platform owned by Amazon.
Oh no, I don't. I haven't used Twitch before.
Yeah, no, this isn't Dr. Disrespect. Is that what his name is?
Yeah, no. Yeah, I don't think.
No, this is no.
Unless it's-
So yeah, we are like fully in our segment that's about Note now. And Dominic, we were so excited for this when we decided that this is what we were going to do this with. By the way, is FOMO be coming on?
I'm waiting. I sent it to him, but he's it's just showing sent.
Okay. Well,
So
he comes, right?
he DM'd me on Twitter also at like 7:40. He's been available for like an hour. That
Oh,
jerk.
wow.
Sure. While we talk about Note, is to make sure that we're sort of separate.
Okay.
I don't want to do tokenomics during discussion of the app.
Okay. So what do you want to know? Sorry, I'm just a little bit.
So, guys,
I wasn't ready for this. So,
what's going on?
I was just. I'm not too sure what to talk about the app. Besides that, the app. Okay, I'll just say with what the vision of the app is. Okay, I'm just going to go with the vision of the project and why the app exists. So, the app. The way the story of the app is. It started with it was a claimable note. I remember the first time I saw on Twitter, and it was like 2 weeks old. Like the project was 2 weeks old. It wasn't a social media platform. It wasn't even that wasn't the vision at first. The vision was just to help teach people what crypto was and blockchain was, and it was pretty easy to use. And it was like, oh, that's pretty cool. I haven't seen something like this. Like, I mean, I've seen paper claims, but never like this, where it was just easy. And I entered the team. So eventually we get our team. We discussed about ideas. And I brought up the subject about decentralized data, where people should be making money after data. And I've talked about social media. We all talked about that. We all contribute to this project. Ramesh, me, Ethan, and the other guys eventually added up to that team. And we even had another guy that he's not among us anymore, but Duncan. And I still have the highest respect with that guy because he helped a lot with bring a lot of passion to the project. Or Natoshi Nakamoto. Anyways, I think you guys know who we're talking about. So the app became a social media app with time, and the basis is that the user. And that's something I highly value, and we all believe in, is that the user should be making money off their data from advertisers. Eventually, we're going to have frictionless advertisement. That's the plan, and there's going to be services, obviously, and all that money that the advertiser has to buy notes to advertise on the app, or we would act as a service provider to help with that if they don't know. But we'll go more with that later.
So I think most of the people who are watching this right now or will watch it in the future are probably pretty familiar with the app.
Yeah, so that's why I'm like, what should I be talking about?
No, let's talk about, what's coming up that you're looking forward to, not related to the token sale. Like, what are some of the features that we can expect to see next, added functionality? Also, anybody in the audience who has questions, now's a great time to ask them.
Yeah, I'll do the best to answer them. Some of the information I might not be able to answer because it's under NDA, so I will have to judge that. So the coming feature that I'm really looking forward to is the DM feature. It's the ability to private chat, and I'm just thinking how that also will correlate with the fact that delete may it will will the conversation be deleted? And because it's the fact that it works on a server, right? It costs money to host it. So in the end, it'll be interesting to see how the community reacts to that. I do believe that there's also fixes, because we're planning to fix the blocking feature, because we've noticed that there's something that's not 100% with that.
Mhm.
Also, to answer your question about that, okay, so following makes you be able to see everyone that you follow in the friends tab. But adding each other as a friend, you're able to see them on their profile, what
Yeah,
they
that's something
posted.
you and I talked about kind of privately this week, right? Or we've talked about it publicly too, because I posted something. I was mad at Bitcoin dude.
Well,
It's just-
he's awesome. Bitcoin dude's awesome. I love his content. Like I mean, I got respect for him. I actually did not even. I was so afraid because I didn't want to even. I don't like shilling. Like I hate it so much. Like I like promoting a product, not the coin. Like yeah, I'll tag NDB. I'll tag NTBC just for the hell of it. But like you said, and spot on. Like we're not. Like I don't. I've seen so much people FOMO into crypto and out of a pump. It just breaks my heart to see them lose their money and then cry and thinking it's our fault. And even though our intent was not like we talk about the app. Like I'd rather people use the app. They can get tipped. They can use like they can get like the basis of notes. The basis of the first basis of notes was to make non-coiners be able to get crypto.
Mhm.
You expecting to get non-coiners to go onto an exchange to buy Bitcoin, whatever, to get notes,
Mhm.
not going to happen. You're going to kill you're going to kill that growth. It's
Mhm.
not. That's not how legit businesses grow. They
Okay.
did that. So
Let's talk about this just a little bit. Can I kind of jump back and ask? We're kind of all over the place, and I apologize.
sorry.
But
Yeah.
trying to get a straight answer about the pre-mine.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, the pre-mine was that a full, what is it, 55% pre-mine that was done
So
upfront?
the pre-mine is 33 billion.
Got it.
So
Okay, in the documentation it says 30 billion, but it's 33.
that says there's 33 billion. So there's an extra 3 billion that was mined by the community, by people. Like when I was like in the early days, I mean, I remember mining. Oh my gosh, I remember mining millions of a GPU. I
That's
missed that.
Yeah, that's amazing. You could mine millions with a GPU on Scrypt.
But then all of a sudden ASICs came on, but we had to. We had to. But in the end, it was very short lived. I mean, it's okay. So yeah, the pre-mine is that, and
So there's a problem there, Seth, right? But I think that there's actually kind of a reasonable solution with why Note took that
Yeah.
portion, took that 55% pre-mine, right?
so
Yes.
I'll try to use a different perspective. You know how some
To me,
see.
it seems like justification, and I don't know if there's still a problem that I just.
I'll explain a justification. People obviously in the chat will probably say that there is their own argument, and they'll probably be right at the same time. But look at the CEOs. How much % of the shares do you think they own?
By the time a company goes public, a CEO usually owns less than 20%.
Yeah, but some own 51% because they own majority. They actually have to own 51% to have the majority decision.
Right, but
Like Jeff Bezos, he doesn't own 20%.
no, that's an abnormal situation, actually.
So, and he sells for, his model is different. So anyways, some people, companies will own 51%. They might sell if they want. I don't know how that 100% works with the regulations. And I just know it's possible. So that's again, maybe comparing apples to orange, but it still stays the same. But the thing is that not once has the pre-mine been touched, even even with pumps. Like, look, you don't think that right now with that pump we had, we could have it wasn't touched. The pre-mine wasn't touched over the past year. The pre-mine wasn't touched, and it's even being transparent. We are showing where it is, and we're doing what ICOs haven't done. Like we actually built a product. We actually did what normal startups do. You build a product, you bring a proof of concept, and then you get investors.
Holy crap. Hold on. Just just a little aside. So, Nicole, this media right now is so bullish for Note that it's up 300% right now.
Oh my god, that's awesome.
What?
Yeah. So
It could not be because of us. It could be something else.
That's just it. It's such a
No.
small project that it could be because of us.
Oh my gosh.
What
that's
the?
kinda
No.
Do we- A challenger
wanna
has entered
talk-
the arena.
Obviously, I don't want to talk about Wait, Notes didn't go 300%.
On CoinGecko, it did, and it's over a Satoshi.
What the hell? Anyway,
It broke a Satoshi, guys.
I'm on right now.
I'll have to refresh, but the last notification that I saw, NTBC, yes, NTBC, it broke 300%. It broke a Satoshi in value. So you guys
Okay,
are, you're
this
not
was
sub Satoshi. You're over a Satoshi right now.
Okay. All right. Then again.
Well, the thing is, okay, wait. You got to be careful with that. Some people, they can skew it. They can just buy one note and it pushes the price to 300%.
Oh, it is like ultra pumped at the moment.
Yeah, but look, anyways, you're gonna have to look at the liquidity and the supply,
Yes.
and all that stuff. Like you got to look at the order books because some people they'll actually manipulate what the chart looks like.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not looking at like Minute View or anything, and again, not giving any kind of like financial, legal, or business advice.
Yeah, I'm just a little bit surprised. But anyways, let's moving on. Moving on. Oh, is that FOMO?
Yeah, guys. Hey, a challenger has entered the arena. Welcome, FOMOBI.
Hey, buddy.
All right. Hey,
Can you hear me?
Yes, and we already had our Second Amendment conversation earlier on, but we need to know: do you have a permit for those guns?
Give me just a second, okay?
All right. So we can just, I don't know, continue talking about Note while we
We'll do that. So I mean, I've been in crypto for a while, right? I've seen the concerns. It used to be a concern of mine as well for the pre-mine. I'm not gonna lie, but as I've learned to be friends, and I considered Ethan like a good friend and my mentor at the same time. Like I've learned a lot from him as well. I do dearly care and support him and everything. And the approach that we're doing it is obviously the way I think makes sense. And we're being transparent at all times. And Ethan always considers what the community says. And, you know, it breaks my heart when some people say that we don't listen, but we do. And, you know, this is the product of the app. The way the app has evolved is because we're listening to our community. And, you know, the OTC, so the PCO, which was stated before, we were pretty much upfront about it, that we're going to be using that to get funding. It was pretty much out there on the pitch deck. And everyone was right. Like most of, like the majority of our community already knows, and they're like, okay, they're okay with it.
That's awesome.
And a lot of companies, a lot of projects who own that, they own like a pre-mine, they'll dump on a pump. You know, I could use multiple examples, but it's not right. It's just. So that's what we did the OTC. And anyways, there's going to be a little bit of debates on, you know, obviously it's not a subject that I feel it's sensitive. It's a sensitive subject, obviously, because of the decision of where it was. But think about it. Imagine you had a bunch of OTC investors buying at a 300% pump. You don't think they're going to be pissed?
Can I add to that?
Yeah, go ahead, FOMO.
Jump in, man.
Even before this OTC sale began, the price already tanked. So if he had set that price, I mean, nobody's going to buy 300% above what the price is right now on the market. And another aspect of that is the liquidity. You're talking about a few $1,000s that pumped it to that price. So
yeah, it doesn't take much. It really did not take anything to do it.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry to sound the alarm bell there. It was cool to jump into CoinGecko and see 300%. 300%.
That's
was cool.
amazing. Did you hear that, FOMO?
What's that?
So one note is now Satoshi. It's that.
I don't know if that's exactly correct. It may have
Yeah.
traded.
That's
At
what
that point, but
I'm looking right now.
Yeah,
and
we've disclaimed the crap out of this live stream. Nobody's taking this as financial advice. Nobody's taking this as real time market data either, right? Like, you better have your data sources more finely tuned if you're trying to trade anything.
Mhm.
yeah, absolutely.
But we just,
I don't doubt that it could possibly get there someday.
But sorry, Seth, what did you say? So that's what I wrote. But yeah, so note surged 300% in value.
Yeah, as of the time of writing for our article, at least, it was at I didn't have a Satoshi or a Doge value in the article, but it was, let's go 4 decimals over from $1 and then 59.45 as of right now. As of the time of writing, it was 18 and change. After
I don't know where you guys seeing this, because I mean, I'm looking at the charts and I'm not seeing anything.
I'm refreshing the page at CoinGecko for NTBC
Yeah,
right now.
but the CoinGecko gets that data from unnamed exchange and alt markets, so it had to either go. I mean, right now I'm on an unnamed exchange, and I don't see any pump. Yeah. So anyways, moving on.
Okay, yeah. Since we don't really know about the price of the coin, that was just kind of exciting. So
Yeah.
what? Sorry.
No, go ahead.
So what do we have? Like, what are the next what are the next added features and functions that we should expect?
So DM. Actually, let me look, because I think we've made an announcement for that.
Yeah, I've seen it. And I also know that there's something secret that I don't know anything about.
Yeah, I can't talk about that.
I know.
I trust me. I wish, but I can't.
So Ethan has made me a promise, and he'll be giving that news on this show.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I honestly, like, I really, I love it.
Okay.
It's possible, audience, that I'm the only person in this chat that doesn't know what they're talking about. So,
well, I don't know because I'm not.
No one knows. I mean, I have an idea. I mean, I'm gonna just say the community's gonna like it, and it's. But I'm not gonna say anymore. It's not. I'm not gonna create hype out of that. I'm not gonna say what it's gonna do. Like I personally love the idea because I'm going to use it. So
what do you know about if comment stacking is on the horizon?
Sorry, comment stacking?
Yeah. So, within Twitter, right? I write something and you write a comment. I can respond to you or to someone else. Right now in Note, I can respond, but they're not stacked.
Oh, yeah. I do believe that is part of the next development cycle. Let me look. I'm on the Discord right now.
Pretty sure it is.
I just need to make sure because
so while he's looking that up, we gotta ask, how often are you doing interviews these days?
This is my first interview.
Awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
FOMO, how about you?
Oh, I don't do interviews. Sorry. Maybe next time.
All right. Hey, so I know that you can maybe talk to us about this while you look, and maybe this is more important. You've been really excited about creating the merch store and people being able to pay for merch at some point with
Thank you. This is easier for me to talk about.
This is my project.
Everybody's got their strengths, man. Nobody expects everybody to know everything.
Oh, it's just this is my first time in public, right? So it's
talk to us. Tell us about the merch store.
So I'll tell you the idea behind the merch store. The merch store, it's not about trying to make money off of it. Like, I don't I'm going to say I don't care about making profit off of it as long as I'm breaking even. I do believe that it can be used for marketing as well. And if people like the content, they want to support the project, and they can share their, it helps break the ice. Because I think a lot of people are shy to talk about what they're doing in their life or what they like. And I thought I'll try to make some cool content. All the designs you see, I made them. Like all the designs, I make them. So one of the future plans I would like to have, and I'll explain why I'm not doing it right now. First plan is,
let's make sure that we have this in a logical order that other people can follow.
Yeah, I'm not. This is why I'm better at typing. I have to.
It's fine. I can cut it later.
Because I'm so like.
All right, let's try to keep it in
This is
order.
why I have a team. This is why I got people who can simplify things for me as well.
No, I'm following you, but I want to make sure that everybody who wants to understand can.
So phase one of what I would like to do eventually, and I would need to develop a blockchain that works with the merch store.
Wait, okay, let's go back further. What's going to happen with the merch store right now and people buying Note products and possibly accepting Note in exchange for them?
Okay. Well, you're going really far right now in the future. You're talking about the big vision?
Okay, all right, sorry. Go ahead.
I just want to raise those expectations because I need people to understand that this is very challenging for me to do. Like I do business planning, but I've never built a business myself. So I help ideas. I help brainstorm ideas. I help people. Like I like the help. That's what I do. Building a business is a different world for me. So my first phase is I would like to accept Notes as a way to buy a discount code. So and I would still have to accept fiat currency because later on I'm going to explain the why. Because there's a complex process that I'm going to have to go through, and I'm going to explain the technicals of that later on. So first phase, if I can manage to do everything, people can buy a discount code with Notes, and that discount code will be. I still have to decide if it's going to fluctuate or it's going to be a fixed amount, if it's going to be based off the value. There's also a need of liquidity for me to as well. But odds are I'm going to use those Notes that were paid to either for the future stuff that I'm going to do with the store or promote Notes, give it in tips, use that to market. It could be used for marketing. I could use Notes as a tool. That's why I use Bitcoin too. I use Bitcoin mostly as a tool.
Okay, this is pretty brilliant, by the way. So if I can just, I'm gonna interrupt really briefly, Dominic, and say if you're looking at accepting Notes right now as a form of payment for sort of like a discount code to use in a merch store, Nicole and we've got something like that running on Mineyour.biz right now.
I'm trying to tell him.
Okay,
we love as contributors, not for a profit motive, because frankly, our merch store, all that profit, all that crypto we're rolling in, right, in this current market.
Yep.
Well, so obviously, I'll explain what happens if I do make profit and what's the plan. But obviously, that's if that's implemented by then. So the next phase is eventually to accept Notes. Once there's enough liquidity. And enough demand, and that's where probably when we have the services and frictionless advertisement, in the beginning, we'll have to grow that aspect first, and then third phase is the merch store will rebrand. My merch store will now become more of a general store, like an online store. Eventually, I will be not just selling merch; I'll be selling stuff that do different niches as well. Not just Notes. Like I actually have other projects. I have my own merch for personal stuff. I have another project that I really like. I don't own any of them. I don't own anything. It's called Callisto. They do smart contract auditing, and I thought, it was pretty cool to help out and support them out as well. So, but the store is not going to be just merch. That's the thing, because. So here's why. what I'm going to do, what I want to do is get non-coiners when they buy stuff on my store. They get a cashback. Guess what that cashback is?
Nope.
Yep. Cashback and notes they would get back. Okay. So but they would know that cashback, they can use it to buy merch in the store or use it for a discount code or whatever they want. Or they can get it transferred and to a social media account. So in the end, I help Notes grow a user base. Now, think about it. There's no social media that does that focuses on that. Facebook doesn't have a store, doesn't have a store that grows its user base. It doesn't support. And anyway, so
Facebook's a weird comparison, I think, for any product in any category, because it does have a marketplace. It does accept payments. It has a bot system. The bot system accepts payments. The bot system will accept payments via PayPal plugin. It's a weird animal. I don't think anyone can compare anything to Facebook.
Point is, you don't see a store doing a system that you can use credit and bring it to your social media account. And again, so there's a lot of problems that might arise with that. So a lot of issues that will happen with non-coiners is price fluctuation. So what's going to happen is that, and I still have to, this is not an official decision. I'm looking at the startup that I'm paying attention to that right now they have an online store that you can pay crypto with. And I'm looking at how they're doing it so that I can mimic that, because I would like to back the value in the store.
Well, I think we can help you with that.
Okay, just give me a second. Okay. Because there's a lot of logistics here that I have to consider, because I don't want anyone to take advantage of that backup where in the store, the value would be protected from volatility in a way. I would try to make it where the user does not really get affected, but people who send notes from, let's say, the app in store would not count. It's only if they buy in store. Notes in store, bought in store would be protected from the value of whatever. So if notes drops 90% or whatever, okay, it's if they paid for that merch and they keep accumulating notes, regardless of the value, it's protected.
It makes sense because there hasn't been any kind of exchange back to a trade of value back to that user, and you're still holding the fiat value or whatever the currency is you're transacting in. It makes sense. You can kind of hedge for them.
Yeah, so that's the risk that I'm taking as a company. And the more sales on the store, the more money, a percentage of that after tax and corporate tax or whatever, would be used to have to buy notes off the market.
Sure. This is actually, I mean, as a business also, you also, I don't know exactly what the environment is, that the regulatory environment is that you're working in, but it makes sense that you can then, if you post a loss for the year, you can absorb that better than individuals can, or your business can absorb loss better.
Yeah, well, that's their call, though. So that's the thing, and I still need to look with regulators in Canada and how that would work, because if they have an account, and it would have to be decentralized, which is, I want to make sure that they can, if they want to withdraw their earning from the whatever they accumulated notes in exchange, like in the store, that's their call. The thing is that there's a legal process that I'm gonna have to go through, like KYC, like I mean that kind of stuff, because that user has to recognize that now that could be considered a tax, and this is where it gets challenging. But if it's in the app, that's what I need to discuss with regulators and all that. If they transact in the app, am I free from that? Or do I still have to pay a tax off of it, off the transaction? And here's another challenge. Here's the challenge a lot of merchants face. Unless you have a fiat directly, a notes to fiat directly, which we need an exchange to do that for us, companies are going to have to go through, like in Canada, capital gain instantly once you turn Bitcoin to, like, say, Doge, and then Doge to notes. Every time you do a transaction, it's a capital gain. Bam, 50%. So depending on what the value, it could be a capital gain or capital loss. So it's a transactional thing, and that means it's tax, and it's a struggle. It's too fast, and when the market's too volatile, then the merchant is losing money. So we need a solution for that. It's either direct to fiat, or we need a monetary policy that guarantees the merchant the dollar value. And I shared to Ethan. He's very, very busy. I've shared him a strategy that we can use, and I'm still trying to like think about my own strategy as well of a monetary policy that can help with that, because to reduce the risk of the volatility.
Got it. Okay,
But
so it
again-
sounds like
Makes sense.
yeah, you got a multifaceted plan there, and it sounds like you're going to need the assistance and the intervention of a lot of different parties. So
Yeah.
if
And
I may
it's a lot of money. It costs a lot, like, to do all this. Like, even the merch store, the big vision, I don't know how much it's going to cost, but this is why, like, right now the merch store is as it is right now, because I can't process. Like, right now I need to get experience with it. I need to know, get more used to the environment of having a store, a business, and then eventually evolve it step by step. Like, become the online Amazon, but uses freaking notes.
got it. Yeah, that's going to take some time there.
That's really
money.
cool. Was interested in the idea of a decentralized exchange when I first got into cryptocurrency, and realized that it wasn't something that I had even close to the skill set of the ability to do. But it's a super cool, vision. So right now, if people want to buy Notes merch, how can they?
They just go on mymerchspace.com, and that's simple. They can just buy merch. The thing is that because of COVID, so I mean, if you want to buy, great. But it's going to take like I actually bought the shirt, like an actual shirt of the new design that I made. And
there's problems in the supply chain.
yeah, you can't see it, but this is a reveal mug. When the hot water goes in, it actually shows you an image, just like
Can
that.
people pay the cryptocurrency?
So that I still need to put that, and I need to make sure that if they let's say they pay in Bitcoin, Litecoin, or whatever, it turns it instantly into fiat currency, and that I don't have to count that as a taxable event, because I mean, like, it's a trade, so I have to be sure that I'm not the one. Like, there's not. Like, I know Coinbase can do it. I just don't know how it works with that, because I have to deal with the taxes now if you're turning crypto to fiat. So yes, it'll be an option in the future, but right now it's fiat currency. They can pay with Visa, Google Pay, and maybe more payment methods. But right now I'm trying to keep it all simple, because I'm just starting up, and having too many accounts is going to be overwhelming, because then I have to transfer the funds to my bank account. And so it's going to be slower and I can't do this full time. Like, I have a job. Like, I have a full time job. So
let's talk about that. What do you do? What do you do full time, Dominic?
oh my gosh, this is embarrassing. Okay, so
we'll see. What do you? Sorry,
I
work.
Oh, you're Portuguese? Okay.
Yeah. Romance languages
so-
are confusing because they're all so similar but also different.
I know a friend who speaks Portuguese. The what I do is I'm a general. I'm a laborer. Okay, I'm a worker like most of people in crypto. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I work under a temp agency.
Cool. Let's just get that crap out front and center, right? Let's
Yeah.
just agree to be honest in this space. Very few people are independently wealthy, and that's okay.
But it doesn't mean I'm not knowledgeable in the space, or that I'm not skillful, I'm not educated, or whatever. Like,
Nobody's
there's a
questioning that at
lot.
all.
There's some people that actually would love to hire me full time, and like even Ethan, if he could, like, to do focus on notes, or I mean, I'm not stupid. Like, it's not because I work or I don't have a.
Hey, I freelance, and Seth is a contractor.
Yeah, I know. I just some people have this judgment, and anyways. Moving on. So yeah, I work right now in the construction zone. So I'm helping out with construction. I did other things in my life as well.
That's awesome. Now,
yeah.
now I've got to ask: do you have a specialty, man? Do you operate machinery or anything? Do you get danger pay?
No.
It's okay. It's all right.
Yeah, no, I just do general labor like installation, demolition sometimes. I've did one window cleaning at one point, but can't do it anymore because
Yeah. Hey.
yeah.
So I got T-Bone in the
But the
comment
construction,
section.
I just can't do construction. I can't do repetitive work. I just can't do it. Like
No
I
worries.
mean, I do it short term, and they just this. I have stable work though. That's what matters. I get
That's
different skill sets, and
Yeah, that's awesome.
From the comment section, we've got T-Bone saying, "Hey, I've shoveled horse poop. No shame." And I'm saying you haven't lived unless you've shoveled horse poop. That's a
Okay, I
life skill.
know that we're like going really long, and it's fine.
Sorry,
I
guys.
know if you want to, before we move into the questions about the coin sale, I know that we really want to make sure that we like drive home, because I was just looking through our messages from the week, Dominic, and I'm like, we really want to make sure that like the emphasis here is that the token is used within the app. Okay, like just for tipping other people, like this is just it helps post, it helps them trend, and it's really like this is meant as an introductory cryptocurrency. It's not trying to take the place of Bitcoin or Ethereum or anything like that. It's just really like hey, now you've earned your first cryptocurrency, maybe you'll learn a little bit more about some other cryptocurrencies. So that's something that I know that we wanted to make sure that drives home. Anything specific that you want to say there?
About how it Notes is a bridge app to help.
Uh-huh.
I do believe it can help educate a lot of people who are either not used to crypto or have never used it before. Using a social media app is something that people might be interested in, especially knowing that they can get paid. If you just tell them that you don't tell them you get paid in crypto, just say you can get money, and then they'll learn about it. You don't even need to mention crypto. It's because crypto is viewed negatively by the public, but if you talk about tech, blockchain is viewed differently. But if you tell them you can earn money for their posts, I've seen this firsthand with the other app that the other project, and I don't want to talk about that one. I'm not here for that, but I've seen it firsthand how people love that stuff. But obviously, you need to be able to. The problem with non-coiners and adopting to non-coiners is that they need to be able to spend the notes if they want to. Eventually, that's where we're gonna have to build solutions for that. That's where the merch store, if I can use for discount codes, that would be a viable solution. And that's
there may be people who are willing to go take their notes onto an exchange.
That's the call. But in the end, the point is that you want to create a solution for that. And that's their call. They'll know they can do that if they want, but they have to be aware that there's tax implications depending on the country they're in. They could be capital gain tax. It could be if they're at a gain, it's still an income.
But that's on the individual, right?
What?
That's on the person who chooses to.
But I do also believe that is a bottleneck as well for adoption. People, some people, they just don't want to deal with that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Some people, they just want something simple that they can use and spend, like on merch and on items. They don't want to deal with crypto. They don't care. Did you know that the app that I'm talking about, 95% of the user base doesn't even know that it's crypto? They don't even know it's blockchain.
Okay, so how many active users are there
on the app?
Yeah.
I'm not at liberty to discuss that. I have NDAs.
Okay.
We used to share information, but I can't share that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So, all I'm gonna say is there's enough user base to clog. If it went on the Ethereum network, like fully, if it was on the Ethereum, it would clog. It would be bigger than CryptoKitties. It would be the most active DApp right now.
I believe that it's definitely grown a ton in terms of how active the community over there is in the last. I mean, I downloaded Note in February, and it was kind of like fun for a little while, and then died off, and then started to pick back up. And lately, it's been Very
I'm not talking about Notes. I'm talking about this other app, but Notes is it's because if you have right now our niche is crypto.
Mhm.
You know, they know someone who's not in crypto. Eventually, that will bridge the gap, and then they can teach it. I think if we're already getting the support of people in crypto who are experienced and they're used to that, then that's already, I think, a plus eventually. But we still need to have the solution for them to the non-crypto people who don't feel comfortable with an exchange to be able to spend it. And that's something I do believe it's a solution that I would like to be able to build it eventually.
Mhm.
It's something I personally like I it's important for me to do this. And eventually maybe, who knows, gift cards and stuff like that.
That's super cool, Dominic. Thank you for
It's
sharing
just
that
no
with us.
promise,
You
but-
mentioned a bit of your history within the cryptocurrency space and kind of becoming exposed to blockchain and cryptocurrencies about 8 years ago, and kind of your process and getting involved. This makes logical sense that you'd want to start solving problems after kind of being in the space for a while and seeing and experiencing pain in the space and trying to figure out what you'd want to do to erase it. It only makes sense.
Yeah, well, just I'm a very I'm a very empathic person. I don't like, when I think about making money, I don't think about myself. I think about creating solutions, like helping people, and improving people's lives. That's entrepreneurship right there. And like, I've seen so much wrongdoing in crypto that I'm just, and manipulation, sentiment. Like, we're talking about articles, also like clickbaits and influencers who pay like CoinDesk. Let's say, I'm not saying that that's what happens. I'm not going to like slander them. I'm using that as an example
Uh-huh.
because I don't know, but I've heard some news companies.
Let's just say crypto media.
Yeah, like just to get paid to shill, and they get paid to in the advantage of their benefit. And I just again, like I'm going to say it, and people are not going to like what I'm going to say. Some people are going to not like it. I do want Notes to go up in value eventually, but I want Notes to go up with the right reasons.
Okay, so let's not say anything more than that, except for things go up. A rising tide rises all ship, or what? A rising tide rises all ships, or what's the exact expression?
Floats all
And
boats.
floats
That's the official one. It floats all boats.
How you doing, Homo?
Votes. So let's, move to, I think, maybe let's move to discussion about the coin sale, completely separate from our discussion about how it functions now as a utility token.
While we transition to that topic, and because we have FOMO here, let's just ask FOMO, what is your role within the Note team? Are you a community ambassador? Are you just kind of an early adopter that's really vocal?
So I've just tried to be an active community member since I got involved. I think it was early spring 2019. I started mining it early on. What caught my eye was the fact that it broke a lot of the technical barriers that crypto has. A 32-digit public key can be overwhelming for the typical layperson. So I thought, the fact that you can send somebody crypto without them even having a wallet as easily as you send somebody a picture, I thought that was pretty novel, and I thought that that kind of blew away the technical barriers, the bottlenecks, if you will, that keep a lot of normal people out of crypto. So I got involved as a community member and just, was excited about the project and have watched it grow and tried to just provide positive input to the team, wherever I can. And other than that, just a supporter. So.
Got it. Okay, so at this point, just really vocal, and because I mean, you're known on crypto Twitter, right? Like you're a kind of a known person on crypto Twitter, and people they kind of know which percentage of your posts to take as like jokes and which percentage to take as like, oh, this guy's actually talking about something that matters to him. And it seems like when you do talk about note on Twitter, people have kind of figured out that you're being a little more serious. So is there any other
Don't take anything I say seriously. It's all BS.
No. Hashtag pure advice. It's too late. It's cat's out of the bag. So awesome. Are there any other projects that you're involved with right now on this level? Should just kind of ask while we're
no. I my time's pretty well spoken for between family and work, and I do a little trading. So this has kind of been my only focus as far as being involved and being a voice for a project. So
awesome. Well, appreciate you spending a little bit of time here with us. I definitely appreciate the struggle of trying to get enough time in with little kids and family. So, so appreciate you taking the time out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you. And on that note, I may have to go here pretty quick because I've got little ones to play. So if I vanish, I'm not giving you the Irish exit. I've got things I got to do. So.
I mean, you can do that too. Just make sure it's a 2-finger salute instead of 1, because then we'll know it's like it's all in good fun.
Well, you asked for it.
So can we talk about the token sale just a little bit?
Yeah, let's go with that. But yeah, I just want that FOMO has been very, very valuable. He's been bringing a lot of good comments, it's. I'm glad. I'm thankful to still have him on with us and to support us. It's, I generally see where his support is. So.
Yep.
All right, let's talk about this OTC now.
All right, let's talk about it.
So you want to know what exactly?
I want to know about this token sale that starts tomorrow.
Okay, so from what I've known, sorry, I got a short-term memory, so I got to look into it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, FOMO, do you know anything about it, or is he already gone?
A little bit. Starts tomorrow at 8 a.m. Pacific time. If you were to navigate to the NrdGrl007.com address, you see a hyperlink for the OTC sale. It gives you information about how to register, how the sale will be conducted, what it's for, and just basic info there. But some note, I don't know if you guys touched on this, but it's a pre-mined coin. 30 billion coins were pre-mined, and the founder has, for the 2 years that the project's been in existence, he hasn't touched any of those. And he's self-funded every, aspect of the development. So at some of our community members' urging, we came up with the idea that it would be good to distribute some of that pre-mine to the community, get it out of his hands, and it would also, create funding for further development of the app, which I'm sure you guys have talked about a little bit.
Not really. I haven't talked about that FOMO, so you can go with that.
So just adding features to the app through the development, that's pretty costly. So this sale is aimed at specifically development. So I think the goal was 225 Ethereum. We'll sell 225 Ethereum worth of note, and I can't speak for the exact exchange rate because I don't know that off the top of my head. But if you again navigate to that link, you'd be able to see all that information.
Yeah, I've got a copy of that live right now on a split screen, so our audience sees that as we
also. You guys, make sure if you're going to look at it, read the disclaimer, please.
You heard the man.
All right, cool. So, what else do people want to know?
I do want to mention at that price for the OTC sale, there was some hoopla, if you will, about that over the last few days.
I saw that.
You got this, FOMO. You got this.
So that price is pegged to. We had several different, pretty well known crypto members of the crypto community mine note for a specific amount of time and kind of come to a consensus on the average price that it costs to mine however many note. And so that's what the price for the OTC sale was based off of. It doesn't have anything to do with the goal for fundraise. It doesn't have anything to do with the exchange price that it's being traded at. It has to do with specifically what it costs to support the network through mining. So,
Okay.
So
Wow.
why
That is
there-
like extremely generous for you guys to offer those coins at the bare mining utility value at early difficulties, no less. Because because Dominic was telling us that he was mining on GPUs and raking in millions of them on GPUs.
I even given out 100 million notes before, so probably more than that now.
Oh, I know
Give
that
away.
was something that you were like, how do you have more followers than me?
Wait, you got more followers than me. What are you
I
talking about?
I know.
I could have got more, but I decided to just slow down on the. I decided to just use the notes in the app, and I decided to use giveaways, future giveaways for merch. That's going to be what's going to happen in on Twitter. I won't be giving out notes on Twitter as much.
Mhm.
It gets expensive, you know.
I like doing it. Like I started just doing it where you have to comment in note and then I'll tip you right there.
Oh yeah,
like
for
the-
sure.
the riddle notes that people post.
those
Those
are
are my
cool.
With the codes, yes,
Yeah.
that's fun. That's fun. Actually, that was a very.
Speaking of, are you going to give the code?
Oh, thank you. Yes. Okay. So whoever's still on.
It's like us. It's all of us.
Wait. Is there anyone on watching us right now?
Well,
There
so it
is.
says that there are 4 watching now.
4 watching. Wow, that's disappointing.
It
There
thanks.
might be some more
Thanks for the reminder.
later.
Okay, so the code is DSMAPB.
DSMAPB.
Yeah.
I suppose I shouldn't go on and do it.
Try to keep the as much as you can for whoever's going to watch this stream at the end, and hopefully they claim it before it expires. If not, I will try to give I'll give an announcement. Say, guys, you got this amount of time left before you can claim these notes, and they're going to have to watch the video. So
Yep.
Yeah. Hey, T-Bone, grab Playdog and go claim those notes, man. He's watching. So
But the reason why I chose these letters as decentralized social media app alternative. Why did I? What? Public blockchain. Whatever. So, acronyms.
Okay. Awesome. All right. So there's a minimum to participate in this sale tomorrow, right, guys?
Yeah.
I believe it's one Ethereum. 1.5. It's 1.5 or 1 Ethereum, Dom.
And I'm looking.
I thought it was like 1.3 or something. I don't know.
So I'll just read it for where. So it's update not June 29. All registered buyers have received an email with the subject: "You are successfully registered for the NTBC OTC sale. First 12 deposits of 5.5 Ethereum or multiples of 5.5 will result in a sale. Make sure to only deposit from your registered Ethereum address. Otherwise, someone else can claim to have made the deposit." Anyways, you guys can read more of that. I do believe that that's what it's saying. But where does it say a minimum?
on the site, it says updates June 29th. All registered buyers have received an email. The subject: you're successfully registered. First 12 deposits of 5.5 Ethereum or multiples of 5.5 will result in a sale. I think what they're saying is make room for folks who want to buy a bit more first. And maybe there's a different multiple that is permitted, but it looks like 5.5 is
okay. So you guys were talking, we're going to go back here. Just found it. We're talking about different updates for the app, right? So the next features. that we would like to develop. And it's basically direct messaging with tips enabled, group chat with tips enabled, the ability to play YouTube videos via the app post, repost, scheduling posts within the application, setting personal reminders on each profile, native referral system. And that's another feature I really can't wait to see, the native referral system. That will help us grow our user base.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So we published something on Saturday. I didn't even know there was a referral system on the website. And somebody jumped in and was like, yeah, there's a referral system, and here's my ref link. Got snaked on my own show.
Yeah, it was a well-demanded feature, and I mean, even before the community was asking it, we're proposing the idea, we're talking about it, the feasibility of it. But that's why, like, eventually we're doing test. It was, yeah. So it's pretty nice. It's a nice feature that's gonna happen in the future.
I'm gonna go ahead and take off, guys. Thanks
Good night, FOMO, for being here.
Well, nice to meet you, FOMO.
All right. It actually, we're going quite late for this show. We are.
Yeah, we're
It's
done.
late here. It's late here right now. I have to wake up at 5. So.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
All right. So, anybody who is interested, get involved in the community, the sale. You know, that's it.
And invite your friends, invite your family, get them to use the app, teach them blockchain, and don't make them buy Bitcoin, give them notes.
Awesome.
All right. Thanks.
Disappointed! Disappointed! Very disappointed! 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 Wait a minute. Wait a minute. This isn't my world. Disappointed! Very disappointed! Wait a minute.